Pensiamo un attimino alle cose importanti prima di iniziare questo episodio. Ricordiamoci, e io vi garantisco, gli avvenimenti che vediamo fuori dagli eventi di Rokkenjima del 4 e il 5 ottobre 1986, tranne le parti magiche, che va bene, quelle è un'interpretazione, ok? Quindi quando ci sono le streghe, se c'è Beatrice, se c'è Ben Caster, se ci sono gli spiriti, se c'è cazzo che vuoi, quello è un'interpretazione, ma quella cosa è successa. E c'è una sola linea temporale, quindi come abbiamo visto la date di Shannon e George prima di episodio 2, quella cosa succede in tutti gli episodi. Cioè quella date ci sta prima di episodio 1, ci sta prima di episodio 2, ci sta prima di episodio 3 e poi vedremo qua, nell'episodio 4. Ma comunque, se ci sono degli eventi che capitano fuori da quei 2 giorni su Rokkenjima, sono una costante. Quello che cambia, la box, la cat box, se vogliamo utilizzare i termini che ci vengono dati, di Rokkenjima, sono il 4 e il 5. Dentro lì non si sa cosa succede. Questo però vuol dire che se nel 1998 Ange diventa la nuova strega cazzi e mazzi, ma ancora prima Eva sopravvive, vuol dire che abbiamo una costante all'interno delle variabili. La costante è che Eva sopravvive. Quindi questo ricordiamocelo, questo è importante. Di conseguenza dobbiamo escludere che episodio 1 ed episodio 2 siano come siano andate veramente le cose. Se come Ange stiamo cercando la verità, dobbiamo a priori escludere le ricostruzioni di episodio 1 e episodio 2, perché in quelli Eva muore. Ora non si sa, adesso non lo so, magari questo episodio 4 ci mostrerà un'altra ricostruzione degli eventi dove Eva sopravvive. Chi lo sa. Magari una in cui lei non è la colpevole. In cui poverina, veramente per il caso e gli eventi è l'unica che rimane in vita, nonostante muoiono anche Hideyoshi e George, quindi lei rimane da sola, triste, e come abbiamo visto nelle memorie di Ange, questa cosa la ributta sulla piccola bambina Ange. Sì. Magari in un ipotetico episodio 4 che ora non conosciamo, magari lei sopravvive e quindi abbiamo 2 possibili scelte. Chi lo sa, magari poi scopriremo qualcosa che rende anche episodio 3 magari impossibile da rendere come ricostruzione canonica degli eventi. Chi lo sa. Esatto, la terza cosa importante che mi stavo dimenticando di dire era proprio questo, che sappiamo come dato di fatto, ripetuto anche da Butler, che se Beatrice sta usando il rosso per negare l'esistenza delle streghe, spiegando tutte quante le stanze, anche se Butler non stava ascoltando, anche se lui in ogni maniera cercava di non prendere alcuna informazione da tutto quello che stava dicendo Beatrice, inevitabilmente una cosa sappiamo adesso, che tutti gli omicidi sono risolvibili con la logica. Poi non è detto che lo sia, cioè che sia veramente, che non è detto che la magia non esista. Però se tutti gli omicidi possono essere compiuti da un essere umano, tanto vale che non esista la magia. Capite cosa intendo? Non è detto che non esista, ma se tutti gli omicidi possono essere fatti da un essere umano, è come se non esistesse. Non cambia niente. Ok, si è capito quello che volevo dire? Ecco, bene. E noi siamo agguerriti. Se c'è... Ok. Se c'è l'intro, devo ricordarmi che devo togliere la condivisione. Non c'è ancora l'intro, perché è inskippabile. Ride On, bellissima! Subito! The first day, October 4th, 1986. Questo è il suono dell'aereo. Che succede? You're alright, Butler-kun. We are already on the ground, you know. You can't fall any further than that. Vabbè, ti pareva se non era lo Chiru di Butler. In the lobby of the Nijima airport, Maria dashed around in excitement. Butler's uproar in the plane must have been very funny to her. Hey, Maria, that's enough. Sorry, Butler-kun. Don't take it badly. Man, you're pathetic. Grown-ass man like you still can't handle vehicles? È ancora dizzy, poverino. Oh, shut up. All humans have one or two things they can't handle. Butler-kun, why don't you come with your aunt on an overseas trip sometime soon? What about Europe? I'm sure you'll conquer your fears after that half-day plane trip. Ah, stop it, mother. I'm sure Butler-kun dislikes for vehicle is inherited. Oh, from Asumu-san. Lei subito a dar la colpa a quella schifosa. Vabbè. Dal suo punto di vista, poverino, non sappiamo niente di Asumu. Sappiamo solo che Kiria la odia. Ah, sul serio? Ok. For some reason she couldn't handle vehicles. Pretty much anything other than a bicycle or a car. Whenever we tried to take a trip somewhere far away, that woman was so annoying with not this, not that. I'm scared, I'm going to fall, I'm going to fall and scream. Children tend to learn that things which parents can't seem to handle are... Children tend to learn that things which their parents can't seem to handle are dangerous. Butler-kun must have seen Asumu-san doing something like that and learned that vehicles are scary. Could it be Asumu-san's genes, I wonder? It's me. There'll be some damn annoying genes. Stop talking about Asumu. Right now, the only one here is you. Right? You're right. Sorry. Hey, the cars are here. Exactly 3 of them. All in. Lei è ancora con lo Chiru. Povero Butler. Mi immagino che sta morendo nell'aereo. You little rapscallion. Wait, come back here, you. I'll sentence you to tickle punishment. It's good to see they're in high spirits. If Butler-kun and Maria-chan weren't there, the atmosphere in this plane would have been very stiff. Thanks. I'll take that at face value. Hey, brats! The taxis are here. Save the games for later. Taxi, I'm going to be the first in. Hey, Maria, you too, Butler-kun, stop fooling around. You'll bump into someone. The tone of Auntie Rosa's voice became a little frightening. Butler too had started to think that perhaps he really was fooling around too much when, just as expected, he bumped into someone. Sorry. Butler-kun, your family is in the car over there. You're keeping them waiting. Rushed on by George, Butler made an apologetic gesture to the person he bumped into and ran up to his parents, who were telling him to come quickly. With clunking sounds, the doors of the 3 taxis were shut one after another, and they departed, heading for the harbor. Questa parte del viaggio non l'abbiamo mai vista, tra l'altro. As their taxis dashed away, the entire world grew suddenly dull and slowed to a halt. Voices, the wind, even the sound, absolutely everything ceased, as if they had been frozen in the instant a photo was taken, everything moving or about to move. Stopped. People, machines, clock hands, even the dust dancing in the wind, frozen. People who were in the middle of walking, frozen, with one foot still raised. Scraps of paper dancing in the wind, frozen, pinned in midair. And among these stationary figures in this world that had come to a standstill, a single one moved. It was a woman, the very woman that Butler had just bumped into. It was truly the slightest of movements. Her gaze dropped, her shoulders lowered to a minuscule amount, and she sighed. That was all. In a normal world, that probably wouldn't even count as a movement, but in this still world, it looked very out of place. Then something else moved. It was a black cat that had been dozing in the shadows near the taxi rank. It came up right behind the woman and leisurely changed its form into that of a human. It wasn't a cat, it was a witch. And of course that woman was also a witch. As the witch stood there, her gaze still downwards, she muttered, "I can't stop them from going to Rokkenjima, can I?" "You cannot. On October 4th, 1986, you were not here. So if I had been here, I might have been possible to stop them all from going." What verbal acrobatics a 6 years old girl could possibly perform to persuade them to turn back? I can't even imagine. But yes, if you had been in this place, the probabilities wouldn't have been zero. If there is a probability other than zero, I can find a miracle. If I hadn't been sick, and they hadn't left me behind. Probabilmente, adesso non lo dico, ma probabilmente saresti morta anche te, non penso che... Però mi dispiace, povera Ange, ha perso tutta quanta la sua famiglia, in questa maniera. With her head facing downwards, the witch tightened her fists. They were trembling very slightly. You were sick in bed, October 3rd, 1986. And Beato's game board is a snippet of time beginning on October 4th. You are not given the possibility of not getting sick. In other words, you are fundamentally an existence which can never step up onto the game board. Thanks for being so patronizing. I'm aware of that. I know that just seeing Mom, Dad, and Onichan healthy and happy like this, that alone is a very wonderful miracle. Ciao, Luke! I know that all too well. Ange have been trying to stand in the way of her family and prevent them from going outside the airport towards Rokkenjima, but that was impossible for Ange, who could not exist there on October 4th, 1986. Just receiving a shoulder bump and words of apology from her older brother, even though he hadn't known that she was his sister, that was still such a miracle. It could have moved her to tears. I'm sorry for the sarcasm. I won't waste the miracle you're giving me. I'm glad to hear it. Now, let's go with them to Rokkenjima. Soon all of the pieces will be gathered. The curtain will open on the 4th game. Beato and Butler will already be seated by now. To Rokkenjima. To my dad, no. To everyone's faith. The day everyone's faith changed on Rokkenjima. On October 4th, 1986, on Rokkenjima. What happened on that day? I will expose that, learn that, and I'll take them back. As she stood there with her fists still clenched, she surely turned her face to the heavens. A single teardrop from the depths of her eyes dripped down into the air. Povera Ange. As when the time started moving again, the two witches' figures were sucked into a blowing gale and erased in an instant. Oh no! Scusatemi. Allora, adesso guardo, vediamo. Vi dico le scene che vedo. Che quindi questo è episodio 1. Il vero villain, la opening. Allora, intanto si è vista una cinematic di episodio 1. Ci sono loro che arrivano a Rokkenjima. Episodio 1 comunque quello che succede all'inizio di tutti. Maria nel coso delle nel rose. Canon e Shannon con i loro rispettivi amori, vari parenti. Qua si vede un personaggio che appare in episodio 4. Il festival. Qua si vede. Oh mio Dio, si vede. Mi dimentico ogni volta. Questa si vede una delle scene finali di episodio 4 qua dentro, all'inizio. Combattimento tra Beatrice e Virgilia, Eva Beatrice, le Siesta Sisters. Finale di episodio 4 di nuovo. Altra scena di episodio 4. Questo è episodio 6. Si vede una roba di episodio 6 qua dentro. Una piccolissimo tease di episodio 8. Ah, oddio, non stavo più guardando. Qua c'è roba di episodio 7, episodio 8. Sì. Qua gli ultimi 20 secondi, qua 30 secondi. C'è tutto l'Answer Arc praticamente. Si hanno messo la CG con... Quadorian. No, no Quadorian, la stanza dell'oro. La stanza dell'oro. Good morning, milady. Mamma mia. My, you do appear to be in a good mood. What a pleasant awakening you seem to have had. Pleasant awakening? I was so excited I couldn't sleep a wink. After all, the curtain is rising on the oh-so-fun 4th game. It seems that she truly had been so excited that she hadn't gotten any sleep. And yet, she showed absolutely no signs of tiredness. Was that due to her youth or her low mental age? Ronove chose not to say that aloud and left with a instead. I really ran that butler into the ground last time. Ah, that look on "you tricked me" all over his face. He looked so pathetic. In any case, I do hope he's not still feeling down. Feeling down, you say? How to put it? You know how he's a bit too sincere for his age. Indeed I do. Although one could call this his charm. You certainly could. Well, speaking of that, you know he completely fell for that thing and I pulled last time. Oh yes, completely and splendidly. His pure, rosebud-like innocence arising from never once have been... from never one... Aspetta. Oh yes, completely and splendidly. His pure, rosebud-like innocence arising from never once having been tricked by another since birth. Yes, you unreservedly violated. Even the joy of running around in a field covered with a beautiful new snow of a winter morning and trembling it utterly wouldn't even begin to compare. You took Butler-sama's innocent heart, milady, and thrillingly, splendidly, atrociously, mercilessly, and in quite the uncultured manner, enough to make one think maybe I went a teensy little bit overboard. You most assuredly perpetrated the very worst of atrocities against it. I'm quite sure most people would start to feel down. So much so that I doubt they would ever want to see your face again. So you understand. I also, considering that the fourth game is finally getting underway, I thought that it would be such a pain if he was so disheartedly that he wouldn't join us at the table. Disheartened that he wouldn't join us at the table. And so, you see, I asked you, thinking that it would be better to prepare a countermeasure beforehand. In that case, indeed, I do think you will be well served to prepare such a countermeasure. Most unfortunately, due to your north wind and the sun strategy, it appears that Butler-sama has received quite a shock. A shock, you say? How badly? Beato lowered her voice slightly, asking timidly. Ronove went along with that and lowered his voice in the same way. In truth, he had been curled into a ball, clutching his knees for some time now. I called out to him several times, but he did not answer. I also carried him something to eat, but it does not appear to have touched it. That is troublesome. Is he really feeling that down? It is only natural. After all, you comprehensively destroyed him, milady. That would turn most anyone into a misanthrope. Oh, distrust of humans? How convenient. Getting give up on humans and trust witches. Sorry. I took it too far. Beato had tried to joke about it, but it seems that the situation was quite serious, and after picking up on this, she hid her laughter. Is it really that serious? Should we wait a little longer before beginning the fourth game? Because Lady Bencastle's guest will be coming, it may be more appropriate to open the fourth game quickly. However, it might be useful if you were to show him a little consideration, milady. Consideration? Consideration, you say? And how should I show that? He's feeling down, so... How about I cheer him up or something? When a person's heart is closed off to the light, it is useless to interact with them in a gloomy fashion. You can do nothing but shine with a brightness stronger than the dark. Damn it! Stop messing around! Butler-kun, over here! A croissant baked by Ronove-sama will be wasted on the likes of you. Maybe I'll enjoy it all myself. Butler's stomach involuntarily growled at the fragrant smell of the croissant. His breakfast plate was empty, but he hadn't eaten any of it. The biggest glutton of the seven sisters of Purgatory, Beelzebub, had waited for Ronove to leave, and she then came to snatch the food away. Butler discovered her in the process, and they have been charging about causing a crazy amount of noise ever since. Even though Beelzebub could have ended it by either giving it back already or else throwing it into her own mouth, she intentionally ran around in circles making fun of Butler. Give me my breakfast back, damn it! If you give it back now, I'll let you off with a single flick to the forehead. But just try eating it. What? Are you going to eat me instead? Try if you think you can. I bet you I'd be as sweet as honey pancakes. Gotcha! Right now, I'm more interested in that bread than your thighs. Be a good girl and give it here. So you resist until the end. No way, no way. I won't give it to you. Even the croissant wants me to eat it.
Yay! Yahoo! Hayo, Butler! こいつ、朝っぱらからまだくよくよしてるのか?
Yahoo! Good morning, Butler! Get a lot of this guy. First thing in the morning and he's back to moping already.
新しい一日とゲームの始まりであるぞ。元気出して行ってみよう。
It's the beginning of a new day and a new game, you know? So get your spirits up and let's get this party started! The door opened forcefully, like a marathon runner down on a certain caramel box, with her hands held high, and with an idiotic cheeriness, Beato appeared. For some reason, countless country flags and confetti scattered everywhere, creating what was clearly intended to be the perfect party atmosphere. Butler and Beelzebub, who had been grappling on the floor over the croissant, completely forgot about their argument and stared at her speechless. Good morning, Beatrice-sama. Well, that's all for me. Hi, Butler-kun. Say ah. Hey, morning, Beato. Glad to see you're in perfect form this morning. Beato and Butler looked at each other. It seems that neither had a clue what was going on with the other. Butler? What is this, Ronabe? He looks like he's in high spirits. He isn't clutching his knees, and he's answering. And he was even in the middle of eating. Ha fatto lo scherzone. No, he certainly was clutching his knees under the blanket as he slept like a baby. I informed him that it was time for him to wake up, but he just wouldn't get out of bed. As for his food, it seems that he was rather too preoccupied with that naughty cat that had wandered in. You tricked me! You should talk. Weren't you the one who played that massive trick on me last time? Don't have a clue what was going on, but I'm glad to see you started your morning with a helping of just desserts. Well, anyway, nice one, Ronobe. I am much obliged, Butler-sama. The two snuck up their thumbs and as though they had forged some kind of male bond, chuckling together. For a while, Beato acted very energetically, trying to hide her embarrassment. Don't take me so lightly. You thought I'd been hiding in a corner holding my knees. Then who was that person crying their eyes out in frustration last time? I should have collected your copious tears in a bottle and used it as a eau de toilette. Spero si pronunci così. Shut up, that was... You got me a bit with your crappy acting and crazy plot twists. That's all. I made an ass of myself, but you better not think that the same move is ever going to work on me again. Naturally. Don't disappoint me by falling for the same move over and over again, alright? Yeah, just you watch. I'll teach you that I'm a guy who gets stronger every time he's beaten down. Beato. What is it? Never do it again. Huh? Why is that? So you really are weak against that rear attack? You and I are enemies, and we'll never ever join forces. I can now understand that clearly. So never again do something as unpleasant as trying to make me confused about that fact. You say that, but now that I know it's your weak point. Beato thought that they were still joking around, but that had disappeared from battle expression some time ago. Beato felt as though his eyes were like a surface of black tea gone cold. You hear me? Never do it again. You never know. I might do it again when you've forgotten. Never do it again. Pierced by his strong and forceful gaze, Beato held her tongue. She may have thought that Butler would surely be the one to break that silence with laughter. However, Butler's serious expression didn't change in the slightest. So, to break the silence, Beato had no choice but to start laughing herself. As things should be. You and I are worthy adversaries. No matter how favorable our relationship, we shall never cross that line defining us as enemies. If you have not mistaken this, that is enough for me. That's right. I almost forgot that you were my enemy for just a second. I won't show such a disgraceful display again. I won't fall for your rear attack again. Ever. It seems that I am not the only one who cannot wait for the fourth game. I am pleased, Butler. Come, take your seat. Sure, bring it on. Clever little tricks aren't gonna work anymore. Stop acting so tough. You remain in a state of surrender for the last mystery in the previous game, the mystery of Nanjo's murder. I'm still holding off an answer for that one, but that doesn't mean I've lost heart. I will break your red truth and deny witches. I guarantee it. A good disposition. You truly are a man like a phoenix. You don't betray my expectations. With that, let us raise the curtains on the fourth game. But before that, it seems that we must welcome a new guest. A guest? I'm sure you must remember that mystery woman who appeared at the very end of the last game without an invitation and spoiled my performance. Her. She says that she wants to join our game, you see. I took the liberty of sending her an official invitation to join us. Ronove, call the guest. There's no need. I'm already here. The voice that answered Beato's call from the darkness in a corner of the room answered Beato's call from the darkness in the corner of the room. Butler turned around in surprise to discover that the mysterious woman was suddenly there. Oh, goodness gracious. How rude. If you were here, the least I would have expected is a simple greeting. I don't make a habit of greeting people before punching them, but I will give you one after I punch. Oh, and what will that be? Good night. Have a nice dream. Entertaining, truly entertaining. Beato cackled and slapped her hands. But that was only Beato, and nothing rose to Butler's face except an uncertain smile. You're a punch first, ask question later type, huh? Butler met his eyes with the woman shrugging his shoulders as he spoke. But the woman didn't answer, giving only a cold stare in return. You helped me out last game when things were really coming down to the wire. I'm grateful. Don't need gratitude. The way you were acting was just flaccid. I only told you to get a clue. Yes, Butler is flaccid indeed. Beato tried to laugh in agreement, but the woman wasn't listening. She did absolutely nothing except to stare at Butler's with cold eyes. Well, it looks like someone hates me. I'm just annoyed that you aren't fighting seriously. You say I'm not serious? You can't possibly mean that that mess you got yourself into earlier was you being serious. What do you take me for? How long do you intend to go along with this witch's farce? I'm fighting Beato in my own way, and yes, I am serious about it. Serious? Don't make me laugh. You keep on drinking tea and chatting with a witch for all eternity and call that fighting seriously. Keep the jokes to your hair. Madonna! Keep your jokes to your hairstyle. I mean, sure, I wasn't used to this witch's game in the beginning, and I've had a hell of a rough time, I admit it. But now I'm finally starting to see how to fight and the knack of doing it. If the pathetic way I've been acting makes it look like to you like I haven't been serious, well, you're mistaken. Am I? Of course, I know I've got to close in a lot more before I can grab Beatos by the collar, but no matter how long that distance is, it is finite, and with each passing game, I am steadily closing that distance step by step. No matter how long it takes, I will close in on that witch, and I'll definitely checkmate her. Borrowing one of her common phrases might even take me 1,000 years, but even so, eventually I will definitely win. Why? Because I will never accept losing. I will never stand still, and I'll keep closing in on her. So in other words, there is just one thing I can say for sure. I will definitely win against that witch someday, and that's how it is. You sure are patient. Are you even trying to win? Even the finite can become infinite if it's treated the wrong way. You've already become Achilles, unable to even outstrip a tortoise. Now I get it, that's why I'm needed. At this rate, there's no way you could win against the Endless Witch, even after 1 billion years. Who are you? It wouldn't kill you to tell me your name. At that point, the woman fell silent, gazing straight into Butler's eyes. At first, Butler faltered under the firmness of that look, and his gaze wavered slightly, but as her eyes continued to stare into his, gradually he found himself becoming lost in them. and in their depths he saw a light that he had seen at some time before. Butler was struck by how strongly they resembled the eyes of a girl who definitely couldn't be there. But that was completely impossible. I know it's stupid, but for some reason I'm getting that feeling. But that can't be right. She's supposed to still be 6 years old. You couldn't possibly be Ange, could you? If I said yes, would you believe me? I'll put it another way. If I say I am on your side, so trust me, would you believe me? Would you unconditionally trust some unknown woman you're meeting for the first time just because she looks a little like someone you know? Because you're so trusting that you were tricked so easily in the last game and cried so bitterly. You said it yourself. That kid is 6, right? Do I look like I'm 6? And despite that, if I were to claim that I am that kid, you still just swallow that story. When you put it like that, guess you're right. Sorry. Yeah, I am too trusting. The last game should have taught me that. Is this what you meant when you said I wasn't serious? Yes, you may think you're fighting against the witch, but all you're doing is making friends with her and having fun. You're just competing in a friendly game of chess. That may be a serious contest for you two, but looking it from far away, I only see two people playing around like they're good friends, protected by the rules. That's harsh. But as long as you can't win this game, you won't be released from this place. That's why I came, to bring this game to its conclusion. You claim that you're closing in on the witch, but you're just like a hamster running around in a wheel. Oh, those things that run around and around in a wheel night after night. At a glance, you might think that running around in a wheel is endless. Endless witch, Beatrice. You are just like that wheel, and he is that one around, and he is the one running around in the wheel forever, thinking he's fighting, but it's actually just making a fool of himself. This isn't a game. This is nothing more than a cage to keep him imprisoned for all eternity. You will liken my infinity to a mere wheel that a mouse plays in. Interesting. Something that's infinite in a certain dimension tends not to be infinite in a higher one. A manger sponge may have infinite surface area, but that can only apply in a world of less than 3 dimensions. In the 3-dimensional world of reality, it has 0 mass. Not only it's not infinite, it can't even exist. What an assertive woman. It seems you are worthy of calling yourself my enemy. Who are you? I am your ally and an enemy of witches. Of course, you don't have to believe it. No one can prove that I am really your ally. In fact, it would be preferable if you stayed on your ground strongly enough to find me very suspicious. You're right. Got burned bad last time. Got to be at least that careful. I'm done with getting tricked. Beato laughed with true satisfaction in a way that was insulting only to Butler. People don't just get tricked out of the blue. They neglect to check their things themselves they check things for themselves and entrust that to other people. And that's when they get tricked. Saying that you thought the light had turned green just because you saw other people start crossing is no excuse for getting into an accident. Get it?
与えられた情報を鵜呑みにするんじゃなく、自分の頭で考えろってことだろ。俺はベアトに見せられた魔法を
Yeah, I get it. You're telling me not to swallow information given to me by others, but to think for myself. I've just been swallowing that magic that Beato showed me. I'd stopped thinking. That's why it's no good. Butler grimaced as he remembered his many painful losses. Seeing that, the witch laughed audaciously once again. I will advise you in a way that will be to your advantage. Of course, you shouldn't just swallow the things I say, because no one can provide absolute proof that I'm on your side. In the last game, Virgilia, who I thought was an ally, turned out to be on the witch's side after all. Butler get that eerie smile worn by Virgilia when he couldn't get, Butler couldn't get that eerie smile worn by Virgilia, who had even thought of it as dependable out of his head. So you don't have to unconditionally trust me. Therefore, taking my advice as nothing more than an option to be considered is absolutely fine. After all, the player who's fighting in a game against the witch is you. Yeah, you're right. Saying I lost because I followed the moves of an outsider would be just too pathetic for an excuse. Indeed it would. My opponent is Butler. You're nothing more than an outsider. It is good that you understand that. No, I am not an outsider. Beatrice, Ushiromiya Butler. And me, with my bird's eye perspective over you, we'll fight in a formation almost like a triangle. At a glance, it might not seem to be a united front, but fighting together is not the only way to form a united front. What an odd thing to say. Just now, he described fighting you as a closing in the distance, but you can't measure distance with a single eye. Only with two eyes are things visible in 3 dimensions, and only then can distance be measured. Bella analogia, Ange. And having 2 viewpoints is meaningless if they are in the same place. You can gouge the witch more accurately if they are far apart. Shooting from different positions at different angles, so like crossfire then. Interesting. We will shoot from different positions and different angles, so I won't make friends with anybody. In order to separate my own position and catch the witch in a pincer attack... You sure about this, Butler? This woman may actually be an ambush I set up, you know? She might just be saying something plausible to gain your trust, you know? Maybe. She's been saying that over and over again herself. So of course I can blindly accept her advice. But I can think for myself and decide whether it's worthy of being trusted or not. As long as I don't stop thinking for myself, I won't be tricked by anyone again. Impressive confidence, Ushiromiya Butler. After you've said too much, it makes me want to trick you all over again, you see? And I want to see what kind of face you'll make when you realize that you've been tricked yet again. I like it. So, it looks like you know my name, but I don't know yours. Tell me your name. For a while the woman remained silent without the slightest change in her expression. She looked as though she couldn't decide whether to say her name or not, or possibly as though she was deciding what to call herself on the spot.
Gretel.
Gretel. Gretel? You were one? That's my name, dumbass. Call me Gretel. Then should I call myself Hansel? Then should I call myself Hansel? Just kidding, I'm Ushiromiya Butler. You can just call me Butler. Nice to meet you. I hate
気を
handshakes.
悪くしないでね。
Don't take it personally.
そうだな。
Yeah, you're right, sorry.
お前が味方と決
I
まった
mean,
わけじゃないしな。
it isn't a sure thing that you're on my side, and you only just told me to keep my guard up too. Butler drew back the right hand he had stuck out. His bitter smile disappeared and it was replaced with a strong expression of resolve for the new game, now in its fourth iteration.
あなた
Butler,
はどうして魔女に
think
勝たなければ
deeply
ならないの
about
か
why
よく考
you
えて
must win against this
気に入
witch.
らないからやっつ
You
けるなん
can't
て
stop
抽
with
象的な
something
ものでは
abstract
ない
like she annoys me so much she's going
絶
down.
対に魔女を打ち
I have a
倒して
deep conviction that
こ
you'll
の世界から抜け出す
definitely defeat the
強い信
witch
念
and
を持って
escape from this world.
あなたの帰りを待ってい
Because
る
there is
人が
definitely
必ずいるから
someone waiting for you to come back.
その子のためにも
For her sake as well, you. Maybe she had something on her mind. Gretel clenched a fist in front of her chest and hung her head in silence, at a loss for words for a short while. Beato spoke up in a forceful voice, shattering that silence. Good. That should be enough for introduction for Gretel or whoever. Come, try to remember what happened on October 4th. The curtains opens on the fourth game! In unison with her voice, the clock, which had been turned back to October 4th, 1986, started to move as though blown by a suddenly raging storm. While we remained in the witch's tea room, the blue-grey sea and the green Rockenjima spread out beneath us, and we could see the boat heading there, trailing a wake behind it. The sky was already cloudy, and it seems that the barrier of the typhoon would soon shut the island away. The boat docked in the harbor, and Goda, who had been waiting there, could have been seen helping to unload it. And finally, the boat dropped off all of the passengers and began to separate from the island. The relatives started to get swallowed up by the island.
マリアは相変わらず
You're energetic as ever, Maria.
マリアちゃん。
Maria-chan,
気をつけないと転ぶ
you'll
よ。
trip if you don't look
気を
out.
つけて。
Be careful.
沈む沈む
All my fondly remembered cousins I have loved so much dashed away through the beach, disappearing as they were sucked into the forest path leading to the mansion. And of course, Oni-chan could be seen amongst them too. Damn it. Hold it, Maria! You nimble little brat. Maria One-chan, who I had loved, dashed away, and Oni-chan chased after her. They were swallowed up by the forest. Following in pursuit, Mom and Dad were also swallowed up. The rest of my relatives were swallowed up too. Swallowed up, leaving only me behind.
バカ
You
いつ
idiot.
までこんなところで
How
魔女と
long
戯
are
れ
you
て
going
遊
to
んでい
joke
るの
around and play with a witch in a place like
早
this?
く帰ってきてよ
Come back
お
quickly.
兄ちゃん
Oni-chan,
私を一人ぼっちにしないで
don't leave me
そして
alone.
気がついて
And
残
realize
された私が
what a cruel and lonely world I end up
過酷を
isolated
強いら
in.
れるかを
Mi stavano salendo le lacrime, poverino. Angie's Future Saint Lucia Academy after 1986.
ごきげんよ
Good day to you.
うごきげんよ
Good day to you. Good day to you is the standard greeting used here. No matter how many years passed by, this style of greeting still feels very awkward. I had responded to the greeting in order to stifle that awkward feeling, but the classmate who had spoken looked at me blankly. Huh?
何
Huh? What's
違
this?
うわよね
I think you must be mistaken. Their choices of words and the manner were certainly what you would expect of a school for rich girls, but at their core they were as innocent and as cruel as any children of that age. It seems that they found it funny that I mistakenly thought their greeting had been directed at me. No, it might be the opposite. Maybe I should say that they didn't know what to do after being greeted by an introverted kid like me. No, judging by the looks of my classmates, glancing this way over their shoulders and whispering to each other, there were even some who seemed to consider their refreshing morning ruined. I am depressing because no one likes me. So trying not to get in the way of everyone's refreshing morning anymore, I entered the classroom in a low crouch. Almost like I was cutting across the aisle in a movie theater while the movie was running. This is an all-dorm academy called St. Lucia Academy, and not a school that just anyone can get into simply by passing a test. It is a hidden, rich girls' school known only to a select group of celebrities from various circles. From lofty nobles who truly wish their daughters to be brought up like saints, this is probably the ideal academy in which to protect them from the impurities of the common world. But at the same time, it was probably also a convenient place for nobles to confine daughters who they didn't want the public to know about. As well as an academy isolated from the impurities of the common world, it also held excellent potential as a prison school. I was truly among the latter and spent my days confined in St. Lucia's Academy. As the weeks, months and years dragged on at a mind-numbing pace, of course, there weren't that many students like me, and you couldn't tell us apart at a glance. However, if they didn't come forward, you could usually guess from their appearance, because they were always hanging their heads all the time with an expression on their faces as though the whole world had abandoned them. And every class had one or two kids like that, so even if they didn't speak up about it, you could guess who they were. So, even though I never confessed that I was one of those kids, at some point everyone in the class knew. Just like the seriousness of your injury grants your status in a hospital room, here status is granted by the nobility of your birth. Those who aren't permitted to go out in public are probably nothing more than filth to them. They must thinking that getting involved with students like that would dirty them as well. Whenever such a rumor sprang up about a particular student, those fastidious girls would about face and grow cold and distant, chasing that student out of all possible social groups. I have that to thank for this quiet and solitary school life of mine. Well, that's only hearing people whisper behind my back, finding my things lost or broken all the time, and having everyone pretend like they don't know anything about it can be called a quiet school life. I must be wearing a wary expression already this morning. I can understand completely why my other classmates, who had been enjoying a refreshing morning, would want to click their tongues upon seeing it. Consciously trying to do my best to avoid tainting my classmates' morning, I quietly took my seat. Then, unusually, someone came to talk to me. It was the class leader. Good day to you, Ushiromiya-san. You seem to be in a bad mood this morning. You certain you're getting enough sleep? Is there some business you have with me? You do know that you're the only one who hadn't submitted her questionnaire for the class presentation. Did you forget that the deadline was yesterday? I'm pretty sure I've heard something about that sometime last week. I think that questionnaire hadn't been passed out yet. All the necessary information would be written on that, so that I should have been It should have been no problem to forget about it until it was handed
アン
out.
ケート用紙もらってな
I
いですけど
wasn't given a
そんな
questionnaire.
はずありませんよ
You must have
寮
been.
長から
The
全員
dormitory leader
ちゃんと
distributed a
配布
copy
されて
to
るはずです
everyone.
なくしてしまったな
If
ら
you lost
そう
it,
と
all you had to
素
do
直に
is
おっしゃ
honestly
ればいい
say
のに
so.
なくしました、
I lost
今
it.
すぐ書きます
I'll
け
fill it in right now, so could you give me a paper? Again, either someone lost my paper or they unintentionally didn't tell me about it. But I had no way of knowing who was behind that. In the end, treating it as though it was my own carelessness would settle everything more quickly and without any drama.
書いたらご自身で生徒会
Once
長
you
のアンケ
filled
ー
it
トポ
up,
ストに投
drop
函
it
さ
in
れ
the
るように
questionnaire box in the student council room
うちの
yourself.
クラスだけですよ
Or our
みんな
class is
全員
the
に
only
揃わ
one,
な
you
かった
know,
のは
that didn't get everyone's in by last night. As I hung my head at the at the class leader's scolding, I could hear the giggles and whispers of people watching, coming from no direction in particular. Ushiromiya-san did it again. Please, no, because she never concentrated. She is unsuitable for this school. She has neither class nor manners. Sorry girls, but I've dealt with much worse when it comes to unfair personal attacks. I froze my heart and let those arrows of ridicule pass by as I quickly filled out the questionnaire. When I heard the news that Dad, Mom, Oni-chan and all of the rest of my family had died, I was in the house of my grandpa on my mom's side. The only survivor of the accident was Ushiromiya Eva. Only Aunt Eva. Even at that time, I hadn't really liked Aunt Eva. At a glance, she seemed to act kindly to me, but even as young as I was, I could see clearly that she was somehow belittling Dad and the rest, and I didn't like it. So when it was decided that Aunt Eva would take care of me, I was pretty miserable. It wouldn't have mattered if my nice Uncle Hideyoshi and Giorgio Nichan could have been there too, but I hated the thought of living alone with Aunt Eva. I had honestly talked with Grandpa about that, hoping that I could live with him. However, Aunt Eva was very insistent that she would be the one to look after me. Aunt Eva had no desire to remarry, so she said I was essential for the succession of the Ushiromiya family. Aunt Eva felt very strongly about the house of Ushiromiya. She firmly demanded to take charge of me right away so that she could give me an education and lifestyle fitting for the successor. Complicated negotiations with the lawyers apparently took place, but in the end I was forced to go live with Aunt Eva. After she took me in, Aunt Eva told me something. You must bear all of the glory, all of the history of the Ushiromiya family, and in order to make you a fitting successor to bear that, your life from now on will be dedicated to studying like hell. Sacrifice the rest of your life for the Ushiromiya family. She was definitive about it. At first I thought she meant exactly what she said, but I quickly realized that wasn't the case. Because even in Aunt Eva's eyes, the one most fitting to be successor was Giorgio Oni-chan, who had passed away. At my first meal, I was strictly instructed and interrogated about my table manners. I was forced to listen to her disparage mom and dad as though they were being neglectful in my upbringing. I also received the same strict instructions regarding manners at my first party, and I was insulted in public for my clumsiness and forced to endure insults to mom and dad as well. After that happened enough times, I finally came to understand. Aunt Eva didn't really want to make me the successor. She thought the only one who was truly fitting to be the successor was Giorgio Nichan, and she couldn't forgive the fact that it was going to be me. So I was disparaged in front of a lot of people, humiliated, and she made it know far and wide exactly how inferior I was to Giorgio Nichan. Surely in memory of her dead son, no. She must still have been mourning his death. However, that wasn't something I could endure. I couldn't possibly live together with Aunt Eva. I would be eternally suffocated, continually compared with her dead son. Even as an elementary schooler, I understood that. I ran away from the house of Ushiromiya. I tried to go to my grandpa's house. However, Aunt Eva had already foreseen that. Now, thinking back on it, she might have been luring me into escaping. I was caught by the guards and brought back. And for being a coward who had disgraced the Ushiromiya family crest and attempted to abandon the Ushiromiya name, I was punished in a way that makes my whole body shake and shiver just remembering it. How should I describe what Aunt Eva was like when she punished me? Frenzied? Gleeful? That anger and sadness of losing her beloved son, as well as her hatred and pain towards the fact that I was going to steal the headship her son was meant to inherit. And the dark pleasure of being able to let those feelings out on me. I was pummeled with all those negative emotions at once. Then, all of my free time and freedom was taken away, and I was put under round-the-clock surveillance. I may have lived in a gorgeous mansion and then been dressed in expensive clothes, but my heart and my dignity were being trampled upon, and I was the Ushiromiya family slave, its cattle. Compared to that lifestyle, the derisive laughter of my classmates here even felt refreshing. It was no match for my heart. Ciao, idrante! After filling in almost all of the fields in the questionnaire with nothing in particular, I folded it up and put it in my pocket, because if I left it on the desk, I might lose it again. After dropping it off in the box in the student council room during lunch break, I finished lunch by myself, as usual, and headed behind the school building where no one was around. Only the time I spent by myself could protect me from the derisive laughter and whispered comments. Since I was hated and didn't have a single friend, my time alone was the most kind to me. After checking the surrounding bushes to see whether some malicious classmates were hiding in and threatening my time of quiet, I finally relaxed the tension from my entire body, knowing that I had gained some true peace. Then I let out a sigh. It lingered heavy, as though it was the first time I had breathed out today. My previous favorite place behind the vegetable garden storehouse had been found out by my classmates, and now they would mess with me there, so it was my new lunchtime hideaway. There was nowhere to sit behind the school building. I crouched down against the wall in the shadow of the bushes, opened my bag, and took out a book with an elaborate old-fashioned binding. Just glancing at it, you would probably think it was some religious book written in the Middle Ages or something. But this isn't a book, it's a diary. Of course, it's not my diary. There aren't any special things worth worth writing about in my daily life. Every single day is just grey, cold and dry. When nothing changes from the day to day, there aren't any notable changes worth writing down. This is the diary of Maria Onechan, who I've been very good friends with. She was 3 years She was 3 years older than me and a bit of a funny person, but Onechan was always a warm, wonderful cousin. She would always grab me by my hand and invite me to play some fun game. I remember that getting to see her was the most enjoyable things about the family gatherings. Though I prefaced this with "from an elementary schooler," the handwriting that greeted me when I opened the diary was fairly accomplished, and while admittedly it had been written using every other line, the pages were dense with text. Was she just hopelessly obsessed with jottering everything down in her diary? Probably not. To her, writing her daily life down in a diary was probably like having a conversation with another part of herself. So rather than a journal in which the events of the day were simply listed, Maria Onechan's diary was written like a letter to another Maria, telling her of the events of that day. I had found this diary among her belongings after her death, and had secretly taken it home. At first he felt that reading someone else's diary might be boorish, and had been satisfied just to keep it by my side, but I was unable to resist turning over a page or two, and slowly but surely I found myself reading through it. And now she had become my only friend. I gently opened the page with a bookmark. Sorry to keep you waiting, Maria Onechan. Could you tell me more about your life? At the same time, a very, very soft breeze blew, ticking the pages, and I thought the open diary might have sparkled faintly. The weather is good today. Maria Onechan loves wonderful rays of sunlight. I'm sure she's in a good mood. On the open diary, no, in the world of the diary, Maria Onechan showed herself. She had been 9, I believe, when she died. So her appearance was already younger than mine. But I called her Onechan, and in return she fondly calls me just Ange. Ange, you were slow getting here today. Was it packed at lunch? Yes. It's always packed. Because groups of friends install themselves in the seats and they stay there even after they're finished eating. It's pretty fatal if you go to the dining hall late. I was on cleanup duty today. I am fast at eating. The faster you eat, the more you can play. Maybe she noticed that I was still a bit bitter about how the duty had been forced upon me, shortening my lunch break by a bit. Maria Onechan brightly changed the subject. Grateful for that consideration, I responded that I eat slowly. Maria said something about how she'd teach me the trick of eating fast and cheered me up. I read it in the diary. No, I heard it from Maria Onechan. She was once ranked number 1 among the girls on speed eating leaderboard in her grade newspaper. She had been very proud of that, and had been apparently been a little disappointed that her mother, Auntie Rosa, hadn't praised her very much about it. For it. Okay, so I'll start today's story. How far did we get yesterday? This far. Up when you got Saktaro as a present. You promised that you would tell me about Saktaro. Let's talk about Saktaro. Saktaro is a really cute stuffed animal. I'm sure you'd like him too, Ange. Yes. Tell me about that. The lunch times I spend listening to your stories are the only times I can feel relaxed at school. I'll talk. So, about Saktaro. Watching Maria Onechan, who's always in a good mood, makes my heart feel warm as well. As I listened to her tale, I began to get absorbed into her world.
Happy birthday, Maria.
Happy birthday, Maria. Sorry I got back late. Good job with your work, Mama. I know you're busy, so I waited without crying even when you were late. Was good, and I waited watching TV. You're such a good girl, Maria. As a reward for waiting politely, you can order anything you want today. Of course, only as much as you can eat, okay? Can I change my corn soup to onion grating soup today? Yes, you can. Oh, it's 200 yen more, but Can I even change it to a prosciutto pizza?
いいわよ
Yes, you
本当
can.
に食べられるならね
If you can really eat it. But what the? But what the
誕生
hey?
日だしね
It's your birthday
ち
after
ゃんと
all.
お行儀よく
I
待って
have
た
to
いい子の
reward
マ
you
リ
for
ア
being
に
a
ご
good
褒美
girl
に
and
なるね
waiting so patiently.
じゃあ
And then, can I have an enchilada cheesecake for dessert? And then the chef choice fruit salad for kids and kids French fries.
そうだもん飲みたい
Want to have a melon soda too?
マリアはいい
I'm a good girl. I am a good girl.
ママに褒められ
Praise my mama.
ちょっとはしゃぎすぎよ
You're getting a little too
もう
excited.
少し静かにし
If you
ない
don't
と
quiet down a
他の
bit,
お
you'll
客さんに
disturb
迷
the other
惑よ
customers. When Rosa gently admonished her, Maria stuck her finger out and eased up a little. But it seemed that she was having a hard time repressing her excitement at being able to eat out with her mother again after such a long time. Today was Maria's birthday. Rosa always spent Maria's birthday at a wonderful restaurant. When Maria had still been in kindergarten, they sometimes invited other kids from the neighborhood over and had a party at home. Rosa would make a wonderful cake and homemade sweets and decorate the house herself, making it a huge celebration. But after they moved and Maria no longer had any friends in the neighborhood, Rosa started splurging at expensive restaurants instead. However, today they were instead in a normal family restaurant. It was also a little late in the day for a kid like Maria to eat there, even with a parent. Rosa had actually gotten a reservation at a fantastical place that Maria would absolutely have loved. Of course, she had also prepared a wonderful cake with Maria's names written on it, but Rosa just hadn't been able to finish up her work and had been forced to cancel. Since that had turned into a local family restaurant, Rosa felt a little indebted to Maria. So she was prepared to spoil Maria a bit and let her have whatever she wanted tonight.
マリアお姉ちゃんって
I thought you weren't a very big eater, Maria Onechan. Are you sure it's going to be okay asking for this much?
あんまり食べられない
I
けど
can't eat
いっぱ
very
い
much,
並ぶのが
but
好
I
きな
like
の
it when there's a lot lined
お
up.
誕生日のテー
You
ブルは
know,
ね
when you have a birthday
赤
table,
青緑
it's all
黄色
multicolored with
いっぱい
red
色
and
とり
blue
どり
and
と
green
幸せ
and
に
yellow.
なれるの
Makes you happy.
そうね
You're
お誕
right.
生日のテーブルって
When a birthday table is colorful, it does make you feel happy, doesn't it?
うちの誕生日は
Birthday at my place were no match for yours, Mario-nechan. But I remember the cakes we bought at the cake shop in front of the station were always gorgeous. Ange thought back on her own birthdays nostalgically. Even though Dad was busy, he sometimes came home just to show up at my birthday party and went right back to his company. It was sad at the time, but now I understand how important I was to Dad. Of course, Mom also took very good care of me. In particular, she always had a really good sense in birthday presents and sometimes arranged for them several months in advance. Even though we always sent an invitation to Butler Onichan, he didn't get along with Dad or something, so he didn't always come. So when he did come, I was really happy. The birthday parties, when the whole 4-person family was together, made fun memories that I will never forget.
おーエンジェのお誕生日もとて
Your
も楽しそうだ
birthday
ね
looks like a lot of fun
バ
too.
トラとルドルフおじさん
Butler and
が
Uncle
すごく
Rudolph are the
賑や
life of the party.
かわいいわ
Noisy and laughing.
バトラ
And Butler got
ジュース
covered in soda. Maria Onechan peeked into my happy memory. It's kind of embarrassing looking at myself sitting quietly here wearing the origami helmet that Dad had made as a party trick. In my hand was a paper gun that Butler Onichan had folded for me, and Mom was taking a commemorative photo. It was the happiest moment of my life.
でもマリアお姉ちゃんの誕生日
But your birthday is just as good, Maria Onechan. So, you get him today, right?
サク太郎は
Saktaro.
すっごく楽しみだ
I was really looking forward to it.
カバンの
Was so excited the whole time, wondering when Mama would show me the wrapped present in the side of her bag. Saktaro is the name of the stuffed animal that Maria Onechan was to receive as a present today. For quite a long time, Auntie Rosa have been making a stuffed animal to give to her as a birthday present today. It was apparently to be a cute lion stuffed animal, and Maria Onechan had already given the name Saktaro, even though she hadn't received it yet. Today she was looking forward to meeting Saktaro even more than celebrating her own birthday. Auntie Rosa ran a clothing design company. It did actually seem to have a brand name too, for what that's worth. I think it was called Auntie Eva in English. The slogan was supposedly, "I can't forgive the way I was before today." Unfortunately, I never met anyone who knew that brand name. Maybe it wasn't that famous. So, in any case, Auntie was pretty skilled with her hands. I heard that some of the clothing she wears she made herself. And making a stuffed animal had to be well within her capabilities. A handmade stuffed animals, that sounds kind of wonderful. By the way, why did you call it Saktaro? Oh, actually, I wanted to call it Sakura. But it's a male lion. Aunt Eva, scusa. Rosa, scusa. Fammi rileggere. No, Auntie Rosa, scusa, mi è uscito per sbaglio. Rosa. Actually, I wanted to call it Sakura, but it's a male lion, so I was told to give it a boy's name. So I added a boy like Taro and called him Saktaro. And I forget when the U is at the end. And I forget when the U at the end went away. Why? Sakura. Main character in the anime on TV. There was apparently a popular anime at the time whose main character was a girl named Sakura. The fact that she'd simply borrowed the name of a character like she was, how should I say it, as innocent as cute as you'd expect from her age. Still no Saktaro. I want to let Saktaro join in my birthday too. Presents always come at the end, remember? If you open it now, it'll get dirty. Hold on until the meal is over. Oh, then I'll finish eating quickly. As soon as he proclaimed that, she started tearing into her meal. Auntie Rosa scolded her, telling her not to make a scene. It seemed that she had seen it coming immediately. I have been thinking that if I were as straightforward as Maria Onechan, that would probably be exactly what I would do as well. So it brought a kind of warm smile to my face when my expectations weren't betrayed. In the end, Auntie Rosa succumbed to her daughter's eyes sparkling with anticipation, cleaned up the table and took out the long-awaited wrapped present.
Happy birthday, Maria!
Happy birthday, Maria! I couldn't spend much time on it, so couldn't make it very well. If you made it, Mama, I'm happy with anything. Auntie Rosa spoke slightly humbly, but Maria Onechan was ecstatic even before opening the wrapping. I could really understand that feeling. It's not a matter of quality, just the fact that it was a handmade present was more pleasant than anything. Can I open it? Can I open it? I really prefer you to leave it until we get back home, but just for a bit, okay? We'll just take a look and say hello, then put it back, alright? You can give him a proper greeting once we get home. We're in public, so you can't fool around, understand? Can you promise? Promise. So, can I open it? Can I open it? Yes, but just for a bit, okay? Before Auntie Rosa finished her sentence, Maria Onechan started unwrapping the present. See! And straight away, yellow and orange peeked out. What appeared was a slightly blank-looking stuffed lion, with cute round eyes and a cute white chest. It was about the size of a small pillow. It looked pretty big held by a short person like Maria-Onechan, but it probably wasn't that large. From the perspective of someone who didn't know better, it would probably look like something cheap bought from a department store or something. But to Maria-Onechan, it was her mother's handmade stuffed animal, the only one of its kind in the world, and irreplaceable. Cute, really cute. Thank you, Mama. Thank you, Mama. Thank you so much for making a cute stuffed animal for me, even though you're so busy with your work. Questo motivetto di happiness of marionette. Please don't praise me so much, it makes me feel embarrassed. I couldn't take much time, so I couldn't make anything that good. I actually wanted to make one so big that you couldn't wrap your arms around it. No, this is good. With this size we can always be together. We can go out together. Cute. It really is a cute stuffed animal. So this kid is your best friend Saktaro. We can't go to school together, but we are always together at home, and he's my best friend. You know, Saktaro is very innocent and cute, and he's always nice to me. He cheers me up when I'm feeling down, and plays a lot with me when I'm feeling good. So, I'm not lonely anymore. Not lonely when Mama is busy with work, and when I'm alone, and even if no one plays with me at school, I'm not lonely at all. Right, Saktaro? Who are you? At school, Maria-Onechan was in similar circumstances to me. Compared to the other kids in her class, Maria-Onechan's tempo was always a bit too slow. Her impressionability and way of thinking about things were a little peculiar, and she was a little too idiosyncratic to blend in with them. Her grades were low as well, and yet she was talkative when it came to her specialist field of the occult, which led to her being treated like a weirdo by everyone else in the class. If she touches you, you'll be cursed, stuff like that. Everyone in the class acted like she was gross, made fun of her and avoided her, it seems. Boys who bumped into Maria-Onechan would start wiping that part of them against the other boys, as if they've gotten something dirty on them. They would pick up her stuff between pinched fingers like it was something filthy and chase the other boys around with it. As for the girls, they appeared to find even speaking to her unpleasant. They ignored her completely, giggling and sneering at her whenever she made a mistake. Looks like bullying is the same in all eras. Humans really don't advance. Get extinct or go extinct already. I'm sad to be bullied, but I think it can be helped. It can't be helped? Why? Because there's the rule that says that every class have to have the one kid who gets picked on. That's a horrible rule. I want to find whoever made that and hit them with the head, over the head with a brick. The corner of it, obviously. Madonna, Ange. If I wasn't there anymore, I'm sure a new bullied kid would be chosen in my place. By staying strong, I can protect them. When she said that, she smiled faintly. Maria Onechan's way of thinking really is unusual. According to her, there is always a witch residing in the place called school. Now, she says that anywhere there's a lot of people gather will most certainly have a witch residing there. The witch tries to make the student perish by disease or accidents, so that she can steal their souls. She sometimes also corrupts their souls, leading them down a path of evil. Maria Onechan told me that an angel came, not content to let that happen. And the angel, she tried to defeat the witch, but the witch was powerful and the fight continued for 7 days and 7 nights, but even then it still wasn't over. The tired out witch asked for a truce and proposed this. I've heard of this before. Thus far I've made half of the students in the class become sick or injured, but in exchange I have protected the remaining half of the students from sickness and injury. Therefore, if you will make just one member of the class a sacrifice to me, if you will make them the bullied kid, I shall protect all of the other students from sickness and injury. Wasn't it? The angel thought about it. Compared to half the class suffering misfortune, having only one person to be the unlucky one would be much better. Plus, the witch was saying that she would protect the safety of all the other students using her powerful magic. If there are 40 students in a class and the 20 victims are shrunk down to 1, then 19 people are saved. Truly logical proposal. I wonder if this fairy tale has some kind of motif. If it is a creation of Maria Onechan, a 9-year-old girl, that would be pretty impressive. The angel decided to accept that proposal. So, through the single sacrifice, 19 people were saved. So, my role is important. The witch is protecting 19 people. Because of us becoming sacrifices. Well, I don't remember ever being thanked by those 19 people. Maria Onechan thinking is way too compassionate. The miserableness of our situation is very similar, and yet there's a difference in our inner peace, just because of a small difference in our way of thinking. So then, aren't you sad, Maria Onechan? I'm not sad at all, because I'll be together with Saktaro from now on, right? Saktaro? Uryu! If I can be with Maria, I'm happy too. No, Saktaro is saying that he's happy too. Maria Onechan held up the Saktaro stuffed animal, playing both sides of the conversation herself. I don't understand, but that's exactly why I want to reach Maria Onechan's level. It's what makes me so strongly interested in her life tale, in her tale of her words. In her tale and her words. Angel, is it tough because you're all alone? It is tough. But just the time when I can be with you like... Mamma mia. But just the time when I can be with you like this is different, because I'm not alone. Then, if Saktaro becomes your friend too, it will be more fun. Okay, starting today, Saktaro is your new friend. Right, Saktaro? Uryu? I am Ange's friend? Uryu, Ange! Skillfully moving the stuffed animal like it was a puppet, Maria Onechan made Saktaro emote. She was controlling him, but the charming way he waved his short hand and cocked his head to his side made it feel he was really was a new friend called Saktaro. Of course, if you would look at it with cold eyes, you would only see Maria Onechan comforting mopey old me with a stuffed animal. But that stuffed animal had definitely been imbued with a soul. The soul of Maria Onechan's love. So I accepted the existence of a being called Sakutaro inside the stuffed animal.
エンジェもサクタ
Come
ロ
on,
に挨拶
say
して
hi to Sakutaro, Ange.
サクタロ
Come
もご
on,
挨拶
you say hi too, Sakutaro.
ウリュ
Would you?
エンジェ
Is Ange
怖
a
い人
scary person? As Sakutaro timidly looked at me, he unexpectedly met my gaze and I hid behind Maria Onechan's back in surprise. Maria Onechan really is good at playing with stuffed animals.
大丈夫だよサクタロ
It's okay, Sakutaro. Ange isn't scary. She's a very nice girl.
どうも
Oh, hello.
サクタロです
I am Sakutaro. Uryu.
はじめまして。
Pleased to meet you,
エン
Sakutaro.
ジェよ。
I'm Ange.
新しいお友達
I'm
になれ
glad
て
to be
嬉
your
しい
new
わ
friend. Held out in my right hand as though asking for a handshake, and Sakutaro's short hand was stuck out towards me and lightly touched my index finger. After all, the size is all wrong for a handshake between a human and a stuffed animal. This greeting by touching each other's fingers was our handshake.
これでもう
See? Now you two are friends.
友達だよ一人よりは
Two
二人
people funner than one, and three people funner than two.
うりゅ
Maria Onecha have given the name Sakutaro to the stuffed animal she was going to receive on her birthday, and had warmed and expanded his existence into her heart for a long time. Therefore, even before she had met him, his existence had been sublimated into a personality. From the very first moment they met, the two of them were already friends. Of course, I don't think anything could be as personified as loved as Sakutaro was, but that wasn't anything extraordinary in Maria Onechan's eyes. She loved the things she owned so very much, treating them just like friends or beloved pets. Maybe it was partly that Auntie Rosa hadn't let her keep a pet, or maybe just her innate desire to treat things as though they were precious. Maybe it was that she was so isolated she had been forced to find friends close at home. Because of all those various circumstances, this wasn't anything extraordinary from her perspective. Yet, even so, Sakutaro, no. Maybe I should call him Sakutaro, like Maria Onechan. It was certain that Sakutaro was a stuffed animal, no, a friend, who was more loved than anything or anyone. Hello, it's Mama. You're in a good mood. Do you have a friend? Do you have a friend over? Oh, I'm playing with Sakutaro. Listen to what he said. It was already past 9 at night. Rosa had asked out of surprise since this wasn't an appropriate time for a friend to be over, but when she thought about it, Maria didn't have any friends who would come to her party to play, did she? Even so, to think that she wouldn't have so much fun playing with that stuffed animal. Rosa was very pleased that Maria had liked her birthday present so much. I'm sorry. Mama just can't get her work finished. We're having a tough time with the next season's lineup. It looks like we're finally starting to get noticed bit by bit, and I really want to somehow make an impact here, so that can. Mamma mia. It looks like we're finally starting to get noticed bit by bit, and I really want to somehow make an impact here that can meet their expectations.
お泊まり
You're staying over again. Yeah, that's okay.
でママ
Do your best, Mama. Really?
ありがとうねマリア
Thank you,
マ
Maria.
マのお仕事の
Thanks for understanding about Mama's work. Rosa was very surprised that Maria had accepted with such indifference that she couldn't come home, telling Maria that she would be coming home late or staying overnight had been a heavy burden on Rosa. Maria would start crying about how lonely she was on the other end of the phone, and it took a lot of time and effort to calm her down. To think that Maria would accept it in such high spirits. Is this also thanks to Sakutaro? Rosa once again was pleased that she had given such a good present. Make sure I come back by this time tomorrow. Let's eat dinner together tomorrow. You haven't eaten dinner yet, have you, Maria? Buy a bento at the convenience store and eat that. No sweets and no soda. Make sure you get a receipt with your change, understand? Oh, shopping with Saktaro. Shopping with Saktaro. Hey, not Saktaro. Have him watch over the house. From Maria's manner of speech, Rosa got the feeling that Maria had been going shopping with that stuffed animal without her knowing about it. Rosa's forehead creased, as after sourly telling Maria that she was absolutely not to, she hung up. Oh, la camera di Maria. Fammelo vedere meglio, aspetta. Oh, la camera di Maria. Ci sono animali, come si dice, stuffed animals dappertutto, caramelle e probabilmente tipo i peggiori libri di magia oscura in quello scaffale dietro di lei. Oh, Mama said I can't go shopping with you. Oh, I can't go shopping with Maria. Stay home all alone, will be lonely. Why did Mama say not to go shopping with you? Urio, she must be embarrassed for people to see you and me together. Embarrassed? Why? Mama often says not to take me outside. And she usually words it like, no, you're too old for that now. Oh, but I'm not embarrassed at all to be with you. I am a lion, but I'm a stuffed animal. You're a lion and a stuffed animal, but you're my friend. So let's go out together. Just when Mama isn't around, as a secret. Oh? Are you embarrassed too? I'm not embarrassed, but the people outside are a little scary. So that's it. Okay, I'll make it so you don't have to be scared about going outside. Leave it to me. I've got something useful. A me fa male pensare questa cosa perché è Maria che sta parlando da sola, ha 9 anni, appena compiuti. Sua madre è via e torna domani sera. E questo back and forth che ha con Saktaro, è lei che sta pensando queste cose. Cioè, è palese che lei abbia che sia da qualche parte sullo spettro dell'autismo, ok? Difficoltà a interagire in contesti sociali, le hyperfixations, un sacco di tell signs, ok? Non sono un medico, però è abbastanza ovvio, ecco, che abbia... Poi il fatto che venga descritta come che abbia qualche disturbo dell'apprendimento e robe del genere è, diciamo, abbastanza tipico, ecco. Quindi sapere che c'è una parte di lei che dice non dovrei andare fuori con questo peluche perché sono un po' troppo grande e mia madre si vergogna di me, mi fa proprio male dentro e non devo pensarci troppo, se no piango. Maria started fishing around her messy room. Rosa often told her to clean up, but she was just bad at cleaning up the room. Eccomi. However, she knew more or less where everything was. Eccomi. So much so that whenever Rosa would take it upon herself to tidy up, Maria would have trouble finding things. Eccomi. Found it. Look, Saktaro. A knapsack. Maria proudly held it up high. Saktaro looked at the gaping open knapsack and shifted uneasily. Maria, aren't you saying... Oh, this way we can go shopping together and you won't be scared. Maria held Saktaro up and started stuffing into the knapsack. At first, she tried to stick him head first, but he'd be upside down and suffocate. So she pulled him out and tried pushing him again, feet first. Oh, no. It's tight and cramped and dark. See? It's alright. If you stick your head out, it isn't cramped and it isn't dark, so it won't be scary. It is a good view. You're right. Will it be okay for me to go shopping with you now? Yeah, it's okay now. What should we get for dinner tonight? Come on, let's go out, Sakutaro. Looks like you're having fun, Marionette-chan. Yep, it's really fun. Even things that would be lonely and boring alone all become fun with Sakutaro. Any human friend would have to go home when it gets late. But Sakutaro doesn't go home. He can be with me all the time. He'll watch TV with me, be together even in the futon, and even hold my hand on scary nights with thunder. He'll even chase away the monsters in the closet and under the bed. Sakutaro is reliable. Ryu, I'm a lion, so if there are any scary monsters that would scare Maria, I'll show my courage and chase them away. Ryu, Gao. They were so close that it made me a little envious. I'm supposedly older than Marionette-chan, but I call her nothing else. Even now she stands above me like an older sister, and I'm yet to reach her level. If I only had a friend close by like Sakutaro. But both me and Sakutaro are friends close by. We are always right by your side. It's just that your magic is weak, so you can't perceive us unless you open my diary like this. Perceive? You know some pretty difficult words, Marionette-chan. According to her, this world is full of magic and spirits, as natural and nearby as a light breeze. You don't normally notice or see the wind, but when incense or something trails smoke, you can see it, right? Right. And even if you can't see it, it's always nearby. That's it. Me and Sakutaro are always close by you, Ange. Gods and spirits and guardians, they're always right next to us. But if you aren't conscious of them, you can't feel their existence. Like wind that can be seen with the eyes. But they are certainly near us. And if the smoke called magic draws trails, anyone can see them. I had thought that I could only meet Marionette-chan when I opened this diary, but from what she said, she was always with me, and I could meet her at any time if I truly desired to. Along with the records of my life, I left a fragment of my own soul in my diary, so the power of magic resides in this diary. It's very faint, so no one other than you can detect it. Only I can tell? Yep. After all, the power of a witch resides in you, just like it does in me. If you study hard, you can definitely become a great witch in the future. A witch. I wonder if that's fun. Oh, it is fun. If you do that, you'll be able to tell me that me and Sakutaro are always by your side, even without opening the diary. And then every day will be so much fun. And then I can introduce you to all my other friends. And then every day we'll have a lot to do and it'll be very lively. That might be fun. I do have a grimoire you left behind, Marionette-chan. I try reading it seriously sometime soon. And then I won't be all alone anymore. Will I? Marionette-chan and Sakutaro said that at the same time, happy that I have developed an interest into the world of witches. With half of Sakutaro's face peeking out of the knapsack on her back, Maria walked through the late-night shopping district in high spirits. It was only to be expected given the time. Everyone in the shopping district was either a shop owner lowering their shutters on their shop or an employee rushing or else staggering back home. Amidst all of that, Maria is in the best of moods, as though she was hiking, probably stood out a great deal. The occasionally passing employees glanced backwards over their shoulders at her, with the eyes of someone seeing something out of place. Office ladies giggled at the cute stuffed animal poking its head out of the knapsack. The supermarket had been closed for a while by this time. However, the recently popular convenience stores stayed open until late into the night. It was very convenient for Maria, whose mother's return was often later still. Maria took the knapsack off her back, and hugging it close to her chest, she headed over to the sweet buns corner. She pointed to each of the sweet buns she had eaten before, explaining to Sakutaro that this one was delicious and that one was pretty good too. Sakutaro seemed to be enjoying it a lot. I'm going to have a 3-flavored bun. With this one thing, you get to eat the red bean jam, the cream and the strawberry jam. But sometimes it's green pea jam or white bean jam. There should be one with bean jam. Ew, it sounds fun with all these different things inside. I also have a fruit yogurt. There's fruit in it, but it isn't as sweet, right? Yeah, I'm sure Mama will be fine with it. Do you want one too, Sakutaro? Oreo? Can I? What about the money? Oh, it's no problem. Look, it's Shokutashi. Ok, sono 5.000 yen. So I can buy you whatever you want too, Sakutaro. Let's eat together. Do you want a yogurt too? When Maria made to grab another one of the same fruit yogurt, Sakutaro tilted his head as though he was a little worried. But I can't eat a big one, so a little one is fine. What about this small yogurt? It's 30 yen. That's cheap. That's good enough for me. Yogurt with Maria. Yogurt with Sakutaro. Maria put the 3-flavored bun and the 2 yogurts into a shopping basket and brought them to the register. The man working the register, previously in charge of the tobacco shop that had been in the spot until last year, rang her up. I seem to be seeing you a lot at this time of day, little lady. You're a good girl, but next time come with your mother when you go shopping this late, alright? Mama said it's okay, so it's alright. Mama always comes home late because of her work, but we aren't lonely, are we, Sakutaro? Really? Oh, that's some stuff. Here you go. I'll throw in a free soda. The man working at the store took a can of leftover soda or something from behind the register and packed it into the bag with everything else. Thank you, mister. Isn't that great, Sakutaro? Since she had been told not to buy soda, she couldn't take it back home, so she decided to drink it on her way back and not bring the empty can back home. With a plastic bag with a sweet bun in it hanging from her elbow and hugging the knapsack with Sakutaro in it with the same arm, the two of them walked home drinking the soda. Yuzu and chili pepper soda tastes pretty weird. You want to try it too, Sakutaro? Would you? Oh, that was mean, Maria. Nasty. It sure is. Of course, it's not like she could actually make the stuffed animal drink soda, so she just put the can to Sakutaro's mouth and pretended to tilt it. But it was great fun for Maria to share the taste of this weird drink that she had gotten for free with Sakutaro. There was a huge moon in the sky. At times, the moon had been clouded by the tears when Rosa had stayed over at work, and Maria had thrown a tantrum and been scolded by her mother. But this moon was very warm, and it seems to watch over the two of them as they enjoy their trip home by themselves. Maria and Saktaro. Ange watched the two of them go from behind. What a heartwarming sight. The sight of Maria Onechan and Saktaro walking away together made it very difficult to remember the several occasions of which she had spent long nights crying because her mother hadn't come back. I couldn't admit it to Maria Onechan, but if I have been in the same position, even if I have given that stuffed animal the name Saktaro, he wouldn't have been anything more or less than a stuffed animal. Anyone can make a relationship which only distracts you from your loneliness, but Maria Onechan was different. Saktaro wasn't a stuffed animal or a toy. He was a real friend, and far from just distracting Maria from her loneliness, he changed the night without her mother into a fun time where they could play all by themselves. Was it because Saktaro was a special stuffed animal? Because her mother had made it herself? Because it was very, very cute? Probably not. If there is a secret here, it doesn't lie within Saktaro. I think it probably lies with Maria Onechan. Is this the power of magic you were talking about, Maria Onechan? To know magic is to notice a lot of friends right beside you who you never noticed before. It's as fun as having a bunch of new toy shops pop up all over the neighborhood. If I, too, locked up in an academy without a single friend, had the same kind of power of Maria Onechan, I wonder if I could make my days just a bit richer. I wonder if I would become able to honestly shed tears on the night I feel like crying and crack a smile when the nights are grey. Yes, you could. You can, Ange. After all, you also have the qualifications to become a witch. The qualifications to become a witch? I also have the qualifications to become a witch. So I still have a lot more studying and training to do. I know we'll become wonderful witches, flying into the sky on our brooms and drawing rainbows with our wands, making candy fall from the sky. I know I can do it. And when I do, I'll show you too. It'll be like a scene from a wonderful dream. Maria Onechan said that, making an absolute promise with her smile. There's no way we can become witches. But when I listen to her speak, I can believe that maybe we really could. Because the fact is that on this troubled night, when not a single flower or smile could bloom, her magic had certainly given birth to a smile. I wonder if I can become a witch. You can! You got a little bit older, so your soul is slightly bound by gravity, so training might be tougher than for me. But you definitely can. After all, you've already experienced a glimpse of magic. I have? Magic? Yeah. Come on, look. I'm not in this world anymore, but you've summoned me, and you're talking with me. This is magic? Yeah. You feel the fragment of my soul that I left in this diary with magic, keeping me revived. Didn't I just say that? You're able to reunite with me and have a conversation and show me a smile every once in a while. So you must have some magical talent, Ange. Maria Onechan guarantees it. You told me just now, Onechan, that you're actually nearby all the time, even though I hadn't been thinking that I can only see you. Even though I've been thinking that I can only see you when I open the diary. If I had more of the power of magic, I could see that. And just like now, I could have a conversation with you. Anytime. Yep.
いつでもお話
We
できる
could
よ。
talk
朝
anytime.
のおはようの時だって
I'm always by your
いつも
side and
そばに
say
いる
good
し
morning
授業中だって
and
そ
even
ばにい
and
る
even there during
退屈な
class.
授業は
Let's
私とお
talk
話し
together
して
during
気を
boring
紛らわせ
classes
ようよ。
and take your minds off
食事の
things.
時には
I
話
can
し相手になれる
also be
し
someone to
お
talk
昼
to
休み
during
だ
your
って
meals.
これまでの
So
ように
let's
いつ
always
も
be
一緒にい
together
よう
like this
よ。
during lunch break.
放課後だって一緒にいる
I'm
し
with you
も
after
ちろん
school,
寮
and
に
of
帰って
course,
からだって
I'm always by
私
your
はいつ
side,
もそばにいる。
even when you return to the dormitory.
日記を広げた時にしか
It's just that you never look at me except when you open the diary.
日記を閉じても
Even if I close the diary, you'll be
私のそばにいてくれるんだ
by
よ
my side, right?
いるよ。
I'll be
だ
there.
からエンジェが
So if you try to see me and try to talk to me, I can definitely answer.
私しっかりと見て
If you look hard and try to talk,
私やってみる
I'll give it a try.
簡単じゃないよ。
Won't be easy, you
いき
know?
なり上手くなって
It's not
きっと
going
い
to
かない
go
よ。
great right from the start,
分
okay?
かってる
I understand.
簡単じゃ
I'm
ないと
sure it
思う
won't be easy.
でも私
But I
マリアお姉ちゃんみたい
want
に
to
な
be
りたい
like you, Marione-chan.
おお、わかった。じ
Okay,
ゃあ
then
私をよく見
look
て。
at me closely.
しっかり見て。
Look hard.
ゆっくり目を閉じたり
Practice,
開いたりして。
practice slowly closing your eyes and opening them
いきな
again.
り長くつまっちゃダメ。
Don't start shutting them for a long time right
私の
away.
姿を瞳
Burn
に
me
焼き
into
付けて
your
は
eyes and
そ
try
れ
to
をまぶた
blend
の
that
裏に
onto the
染み込ませて
inside
い
of
く
your
つもりで。
eyelids.
やってる
まぶたを閉じて
Okay,
も
I'm doing it.
私をイメージできるように
Once you
な
can
ったら
visualize me, even with your eyes
その
closed,
ままゆっくり
without
柔
changing
らかく
anything,
目を閉じていて。
slowly and softly close your
ど
eyes.
う？
Well,
まだ私が見えてい
still
る？
see me?
うん
Yes.
多分見
I
えてると思う
think I can probably see you.
じゃあ一度目を
Okay,
開い
open your
て。
eyes again for a second.
いよいよ本番。
Time for the real thing.
心を落ち着けたら
Calm your
日
heart
記を閉じて。
and close
そ
diary.
の時一度
When you
マ
do,
リアの姿は
I
消え
might
てしまうかもし
disappear
れ
for
な
a
い。
little while.
でも焦らずに
But calm your
心を落
heart
ち着け
and
て。
don't rush.
そして
Then
まぶたの裏
try
に
to
染
blend
み
me
込ませた
try to
私
blend me
を
back from the
逆に
inside
下
of
に
your
染み込ませ
eyelids
ていくつもり
back
で
into your eyes again.
ゆっくりと
Slowly
虚空に
visualize
私
me
を
in the
イメー
empty
ジして
air.
私を
In the empty air,
虚空に見て。
see me. Okay,
大丈夫
I can do this.
じゃあ閉じるね日記
I'm closing it, the diary.
おう
Mm-mm. Slowly, I close the diary. When I close the diary, a grey reality filled with dull air unfolded. Of course, Marione-chan form disappeared. Give it all you've got. Have courage. Take the first step into the world of witches. I felt like Marione-chan was cheering me on inside my heart. Cheering me on? Really? Isn't just that what I'd like to imagine? No, that's not it. I just convinced myself that it is, and that's why I cannot see her. Marione-chan is always by my side, and even now she's definitely there, cheering me on to do my best. And I can hear it, so I mustn't ignore it like it's my imagination or the inner voice of my heart, or my own heart. Believe that Marione-chan is there. I mustn't doubt. I believe. One-chan said she'd always be by my side. I must not doubt that. But as I faced that empty space, that empty back wall of the school building, amidst those almost heartless pouring rays of sunlight, calling out her name was so much easier said than done. The chains of common sense which had clung to me until today sneered at me, telling me that calling out to the empty air was ridiculous. It was almost like being told to take a step forward off the roof of a skyscraper overlooking a sea of lights. Marione-chan was telling me that it's alright, that I can do it. Stop thinking that you might fall, or that it would be foolish to take a step off the roof. And free yourself from those chains of common sense. Yeah. I steadied my breathing. I concentrated my mind. Make the form of Marione-chan you can see vividly on the inside of your eyelids rise to the surface in the empty space before you. Understand magic and see. One-chan.
Maria, お姉ちゃん。
誰かいるの？
Is someone there? Suddenly answered by the sound of rustling bushes and a wild cry, I came to my senses. Apparently, I haven't been the only one behind the school building. No, it seems I've been so immersed in the world of the diary that I hadn't noticed that someone else had come afterwards. I recognized a group of 3 beyond the bushes. They were girls from my class. It felt as though they had come behind the school building to gossip about someone or talk in secret and hurried out of that place. Because if it became known that I have been alone in a place like this, mumbling to myself, it would probably create more things for me to deal with.
言ったよね。
She said that, right? She did say that. Maria Ne-chan or
や
something.
ばくない？心霊と
Messed
か
up.
見えちゃってんじ
I
ゃない
think
の？
that Nutcase is seeing ghosts or something.
後宮さんって面白い。
Ushiromiya-san is so funny. I could hear the shrill, loud laughter from behind. Irritated and feeling that Maria Ne-chan had been made fun of, I left that place at a quick pace, and then a half run once I turned the corner. I might have made it to One-chan's world with just a little more time. Frustrating, aggravating. Why does everyone get in my way? I have never gotten in their way, not even once. I ran and ran, but it felt like as though I could hear their shrill laughs. The world of 12 years later, October 1998. Beh, comunque, che dire? Che storia triste. Bittersweet. Perché Maria è super... Oh! Nuovo tizio. Un secondo. Che storia tristissima. La vita di Maria e di Ange mi fanno un sacco male. E spero che sia trasmesso questa cosa, non solo da come reagisco io, ma proprio dal gioco in sé. Vediamo se c'è... Ah! Attenzione! Ok, dobbiamo leggere questo. Ah, oddio, abbiamo Human Side, Witch's Side, ok, e Ange's Side. Questo dobbiamo leggerlo. Allora, Human Side penso non ci sia nulla di nuovo. Witch's Side, vediamo un po'. Lambda Delta. The Witch of Certainty, who have lived for 1,000 years. She is using Beatrice's game like a bird cage to imprison Berncastle. Her objective is an eternal draw. Takes Beatrice's side most of the time, but supports Butler when he looks like he's about to drop out. Conversely, when Beatrice starts to get cornered, she supports Beatrice. Endless is just an infinite idle repetition. Certainty is, on the other hand, indicates a far stronger, absolute force of will. Sì, questo abbiamo già letto. The Witch of Miracles, who had lived for 1,000 years, sent in a piece called Ange to defeat Beatrice in her game. The Voyager witches who cross the Sea of Fragments are a far higher level beings than witches who cannot leave their own territory. In territory, they are equals, but fundamentally, her magical power far exceeds Beatrice's. What is this that witches who voyage constantly in an escape from boredom seek from their journeys? Ange, the endless witch who will live for the next 1,000 years, or the witch hunter who will slay all witches. Without understanding witches, one will never slay a witch. After understanding witches, still never will one slay a witch. She understands witches and denies them. This contradictory power alone gives her the blade to slay witches. Ushiromiya Maria, a little mage who has inherited the black blood from Kinzo. Unlike Kinzo, she was gifted with natural talent and began to tread the path of mage while still young. That said, her power is still weak, and she is no more than an apprentice. However, she is skilled with enchantments which bestow magical power upon objects, and the magical items she creates compete with those of Meister's class. Questo l'abbiamo già letto. È un... allora... She understands witches and denies them. È un... particolare, Ange. Ange's side, allora. Ushiromiya Ange threw herself off the top of a skyscraper and miraculously survived unharmed. Her mystical experience led her to abandon everything and go on a personal journey to discover her past. Will she, positioned 12 years in the future, be able to break through Beatrice's magical power? E anche Eva ci lascia. Ushiromiya Eva, after being repeatedly hospitalized from psychogenic stress, she is already dead in the world of 1998 due to an acute heart failure. The only survivor from Rokkenjima, she lived her later years in isolation with no one to understand her. The media gave her the name Queen of Suspicion. She continued on the path of reckless expansion like Kinzo had done in the past and made many enemies. In her later years, she seemed to do this repeatedly as she found it funny, and at the point it was no longer for economic reasons, just simply to harass. And all of this was for the sake of Ange, who would eventually succeed her. Bene, nuovo tizio. Non so, devo sentire di nuovo la sua voce. È una zia super premurosa, hai visto? Rumor has it, Ange-chan. Rumor has it, Ange-chan, that you jumped off the top of a building? The groupies were getting annoying, so I thought I'd give them the slip. Ange and an old gentleman wearing an expensive suit were alone in a massive modern conference room. The conference room was equipped with all the latest equipment for presentations, while keeping intact and refined and a refined and composed atmosphere. That alone was enough to make abundantly clear that the worth of the company that was it. Mamma mia. Scusatemi. That alone was enough to make abundantly clear the worth of the company that was its owner. However, Ange couldn't have cared less. Looking aloof from the world, she sat slovenly in one of the high-class chairs for the executives with salaries beyond north of 20 million yen. And anyway, I knew they were modeling on the lower roof floors and had a safety net, so... Ange dismissed it with an offhand comment, but in reality, it had been a miracle among miracles. She had shot through several layers of safety netting for the remodeling project, and had been caught by multicolored banner adorning the atrium, slid down and off of it, and being softly caught by the final banner, landed on the ground without a scratch, and then left the place at a brisk walk. It put Hong Kong movies to shame. So you knew there was a net. It was a still 200 meters tall skyscraper, you know? If things hadn't gone according to plan, there'd be a real mess to deal with right now. I figured that if I died, then that would be the end of that. More or less. Well, let's just say... was just testing my luck a bit. Put it down to the rashness of youth. That's not the rashness of youth, Ange. You're suicidal. Perché hai una vita di merda. Mi dispiace. E uno che dice, vabbè, proviamo un po', prendo questo revolver, mettiamo un proiettile dentro. Ah, che fortuna. Questa volta non è andata. Mettiamone due. Va bene. Ange shrugged coldly, as though saying that she had enough of that topic. At this, the old gentleman who was looking at the world below through the window burst into laughter. We're testing your luck. My, you truly are Kinzo's son grandchild. The nerve to entrust yourself to chance, to put your life in the hands of the gods and think nothing of it. The chairman was also a person who could stake her life on a bet like it was nothing. Wonder if it's all a part of the Ushiromiya's blood. Però adesso mi viene in mente una cosa. Adesso Ange... adesso tipo Ange è veramente non gliene frega nulla della sua vita, tanto che si è buttata giù da un palazzo ed è viva per culo. E qua dice che The Chairman, che era Eva, avrebbe potuto fare la stessa cosa, ok? She could stake her life on a bet like it was nothing. E questo poteva fare anche Kinzo. Quindi mi viene da dire che tutte e tre sono persone di cui la propria incolumità non interessa molto. Ange ha avuto una vita di merda, ha ancora una vita di merda, è sola e triste. Eva, dopo l'evento, qualsiasi cosa sia successa veramente, perché noi, l'unica ricostruzione che abbiamo plausibile è quella di episodio 3, quindi dove lei è il colpevole ed ha ammazzato la maggior parte delle persone, probabilmente non George e The Yoshi, e sappiamo per certezza che non ha ucciso un angelo in episodio 3, quindi comunque è rimasta sola, e quindi anche lei è tipo una vita del sì, butto tutto e se funziona funziona, se non funziona vaffanculo, muoio. Mi viene da pensare che anche Kinzo era così. Poi non lo so, ma è una cosa che mi è balenata in mente adesso. Ciao Serponimix, buonasera. Non è morto ancora nessuno, cioè oddio, è morta Eva di crepacuore, ma non l'abbiamo vista morire. Per il momento solo questo. Vabbè, oltre alle persone, oltre a tutte quante le 18 persone, no, 17 persone di Rokkenjima, perché Eva è sopravvissuta a Rokkenjima ed è morta 12 anni dopo di heart attack. Comunque, you really are going to be something big in the future? Take my advice. Why not put this running away from home act behind you and return to the Sumadera family? Nuovo nome, Sumadera. I heard that mom had a bad relationship with her family. Ding ding ding, sappiamo il cognome, maiden name di Kirie. Non era ovviamente prima di prendere il cognome Ushiromiya. Si chiamava Kirie Sumadera. I don't want to go to the house of people I first met at the funeral. The Sumadera family is my mom's family. It's a bit of an old family from Kyoto, and unbelievably strict in a way you could have never imagined from the frank way Mom acted. The only person in the Sumadera family I've been on good terms with was Grandpa, who was living separately under the guise of retirement. Mom too kept up contact only with Grandpa, and had nothing to do with the rest of the family at all, nor they with her, to an ugly degree. Even for me, Grandpa's house was the only part of the Sumadera family I ever went to visit. Being young, I hadn't really understood it at the time, but I heard that Grandpa, as a man who married into his wife's family, was in an extremely weak position, and this relationship with Grandma was also bad. In fact, maybe you could have said that he was hated by Grandma and confined to the house. It isn't hard to imagine that because she had a soft spot for Grandpa alone, Mom was probably also hated by the Sumadera family. As her daughter, he was probably also hated quite a bit. And yet, they had appeared for the first time at my parents' funeral, shamelessly going on about how I'd grown and how they'd like to act like my family after all this time. After Aunt Eva died, all the wealth of the Ushiromiya family was inherited by me. If they weren't after that, there's no way they have been able to say such disgusting words. Well, you're like you're all alone now. It's not like I don't get why you don't just quit caring. Aspetta. Well, look, you're all alone now. It's not like I don't get why you just quit caring. is not caring. Annoying Aunt Eva had kicked the bucket at last, and I'm finally stretching my legs and taking a relaxing stroll, that's all. Everyone else is just making too big of a deal out of it. They're all just after the vast Ushiromiya wealth I shouldered away. I'm shouldered. Mamma mia! Mamma mia! They're all just after the vast Ushiromiya wealth I'm shouldered with anyway. They must think if they become my guardians, they'll be able to do whatever they please with all that wealth. Just how many people have tried to act like a substitute parent and get close by with me, to me. Ange-chan, you know, if life's treating you rough, you can come talk to me anytime if you want some advice. Vuoi anche tu I soldi, vero? I think of you as my true grandchild. Let's make that a no thank you for now. More importantly, let's get back on topic. Ange-chan, ask me as much as you want. I'm not hiding nothing. The chairman was the only one who survived the Rokkenjima that day, and she gave up the ghost without saying a thing. I myself understood nothing. We are all in the dark, as they say. The old gentleman was one of the number of corporate heavyweights who, after Eva has passed away, have been entrusted with the business group she had built up. The one he referred to as the chairman, technically the former chairwoman, was Ushiromiya Eva. His company had once had a friendly relationship with Hideyoshi's company and had been a close friend of both Hideyoshi and Eva. For that reason, after Eva lost Hideyoshi, he had become the only person whom she could reveal her true thoughts. When Eva's heart had been torn by the loss of her family, she had taken it out on Ange, and had also acted as a buffer between the two, as although Ange didn't trust him, she too found him an easy person to pay a visit. The crime... no. Accident, I guess. If I call it a crime, I'll get in trouble. Sure, I had my questions, just like the rest of the public and the talk shows. At the time of the accident, why was Aunt Eva in a place 2 kilometers away from the mansion, all alone? Attenzione, questo è nuovo. Noi, l'ultima cosa che abbiamo visto di episodio 3 è Eva che uccide Butler e va via dalla stanza dove l'ha ucciso. Basta. È l'ultima cosa che abbiamo visto. Dopo c'è stato tutto quanto il discorso nell'altra dimensione. Ma quando Butler pedina è morto, non sappiamo dove è andata Eva. Segnare giusta cosa. At the time of the accident, why was Aunt Eva in a place 2 kilometers away from the mansion, all alone? And on the night of a storm. At the time, Kinzo-san was unsure as who would he choose to be the next successor. Publicly, it was to be the eldest son, Kraus-san, but he wasn't well trusted by Kinzo. So, to fairly determine a successor from among the 4 siblings, he made this game-like test called the riddle of the epitaph. Only officially speaking, Kinzo-san probably planned to make Eva-san the successor to the head from the beginning. Non sono molto sicuro. Beh, ovviamente tu non hai visto i flashback di Eva, ma non sono molto sicuro. No. He wanted to leave the family to Eva-san, who, unlike Kraus-san, was extremely diligent and brilliant, even at the cost of taking back his own rule that the eldest son would be the successor. Non lo conosci per niente, Kinzo. The new rule about giving the family headship to the one who solved the riddle of the epitaph was probably nothing more than a farce so that he could snatch the position of successor away from Kraus-san. What do you mean by farce? There was no need for anyone to solve the epitaph. Once it had been displayed for an appropriate amount of time, Kinzo-san would just call Eva-san, who had truly wanted to succeed him, and give her the answer. Sei un cazzo di Kinzo, non sai un cazzo di Kinzo, fatelo dire.
つまりそれこそ
In other words, that itself was the proof of the succession to the headship.
それはワイドショーでは
There
言われ
hadn't
てい
been
ない
any
話です
mention on this on the talk shows, has there?
まあ党首
Well,
会将
that's
が
because if you start
話を
going
したら
on about the succession of the head,
余計陰謀説
it's
が
gonna
優勢になっちゃう
strengthen the murder
俺
theory.
もバカじゃない
I'm not fool myself.
誤解を招くよう
I'm
な
not gonna
こと
go
は
out
わざわ
on
ざ
of my
口に
way to
し
say
ない
things that could invite misunderstandings. The way he told it went like this. At the time, the head of the Ushiromiya family, Kinzo, diagnosed with little time left to live, was troubled over the problem who was to succeed him. Normally, the successor would be fixed as the oldest son, Kraus, as laid out by Kinzo himself. But in his later years, Kinzo began to think that Eva was more fitting to be head. However, Kinzo, stubborn even to himself and obstructed by the title of successor that had given to Kraus, searched for an official stance by which he could skip over Kraus and select Eva as his successor. The official stance was the riddle of the epitaph. Their primary successor was still Kraus, but there was a new rule saying that if someone appeared who could solve the riddle, they would be chosen as the successor to the head. And only on the day that would probably be the final family conference, Kinzo had told Eva the answer to the riddle himself. In short, it was the same as proclaiming that Eva was the successor.
エヴァさんは
On that day, Eva's son was summoned by Kinzo's son, and that was revealed to
そ
her.
して
And
党
so,
首を引き継ぐため
and so that she could succeed the head, he called Eva's son to the hidden mansion. Minchia, però sapete ste cose. And so, that she could succeed the head, he called Eva's son to the hidden mansion Quadorian, only known to the head.
で一足早く
And the
その隠し
claim
館
that
で待って
she
いたエヴァ
escaped
おばさん
harm in that accident because she was waiting at the hidden mansion just
エヴァお
beforehand.
ばさんが
Maybe Onteva just killed everyone and made it look like an accident so that she could steal of all the wealth, and that's why she's the only one who escaped unharmed. Quindi, il fatto che è stata trovata a 2 chilometri di distanza dal mansion è perché era Quadorian, quindi dopo, almeno secondo la ricostruzione di episodio 3, dopo aver ucciso Rosa, Maria, Rudolph, Kyrie, Kraus, Natsui e Butler, lei prende e scappa a Quadorian. Ma che accidente è? Scusami, che accidente è che lei è di un'altra parte e tutti gli altri muoiono? Cioè, qua non lo chiamano anche lui ha detto che non può chiamarlo un murder, un accident. Che accident è successo che sono morte 17 persone mentre lei era a 2 chilometri di distanza? No, ho capito. Perché ha più senso quello che dice Ange, onestamente.
大衆紙はそう騒いでるな
Well, that's what the papers are shouting about. However,
俺はエヴァさん
I
を
believe
信じてる
Eva-san.
信ずるに足るポイントが
I think there are several points that make her worthy of
例
trust.
えば
For
今
example,
エンジェちゃんが指に通
the
している
ring
そ
of
の
the Ushiromiya family head, which is on your finger as we speak.
その指輪は金蔵さんが特別
That
に作ら
ring is
せ
the only one of its
世界
kind
に
in the
一つしか
world,
ない指輪
which Kinzo-san has specifically made.
そして今
And even the artisan who made it acknowledged that the object on your finger is, without a doubt,
作った
that
細工師を
ring.
認めてる
Appunto, infatti, assolutamente Giovere. Poi scusa, tu mi stai dicendo che Eva se n'è andata a fanculo nella foresta da sola di notte. Come ha fatto a trovare Quadorian? Pensavo fosse abbastanza nascosta. Assolutamente, è di sicuro nascosta. Da quello che abbiamo visto nel flashback di Rosa, è assolutamente nascosta. The Ushiromiya family head's ring. That ring with the heft of gold and the one-winged crest on it. Had diamonds adorning the pedestal and possessed both stateliness and a sense of gaudy extravagance. Kinzo had worn on that finger, never removing it for a moment. and the fact that Eva had it apparently proof that Kinzo had the fact that Eva had it was apparently proof that Kinzo had acknowledged her as the successor to the head. Because Eva-san did indeed have that ring, and if you take into consideration that Eva-san was indeed more capable, and that Kraus-san was known to have made a fool of himself numerous times in the business setting, I cannot imagine that Eva-san's story is completely made up. Although there's also the possibility that she murdered her grandfather in order to steal that ring, and then using some kind of trick she massacred everyone and made it look like it was an accident. Ma che accident! Che accident! Cos'è? Che accident! Come cazzo è possibile che sono morte 17 persone? Che accident uccide 17 persone? Cos'è successo? Non lo so, c'è stato un gas leak, c'è stato Goda che ha lasciato aperto il rubinetto del gas e sono morti tutti quanti di notte? Infatti, appunto Pomiz. Alla fine si scopre che il mastermind è Goda e ucciso tutti quanti con il gas. Godatrice. E come nelle peggiori ribattute di Butler è rimasto ucciso dalla sua stessa trappola ed Eva casualmente era via. Una bomba termonucleare è stata sganciata su Rockenjima. La strega del napalm. La strega dell'uranio è arrivata e ha fatto ta 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 boom. Sono morti tutti tranne che Eva. La strega dell'uranio impoverito. Altro che la strega d'oro. Ah yes, it seems the people are accusing her of massacring her entire family with the aim of keeping all the wealth to herself. It is true that Eva-san was the kind of person to take drastic actions when it came to the crunch. It could be possible that she committed the only murder she planned on committing in her life to grab this chance to make the Ushiromiya wealth all of her own. But you know, I don't think that's true. What's the second point making her worthy of that trust? Eva-san's family. Goda, la leggendaria strega dell'uranio impoverito. È uscita a fare 2 passi, si è persa. Guarda, Luke, è uscita a fare 2 passi per come si dice? Perché era una serata pesante. E si è persa nella foresta, è arrivata qua a Dorian, nel frattempo è esplosa la casa. L'accidente, il famoso accidente di Rockenjima. Eva-san's family, Hideyoshi-san and George-kun. My find is difficult to believe, Ange-chan, but Eva-san was a person who treasured their family greatly. Beh, immagino che sia difficile da capire per Ange. He was right. I found it very hard to believe that or admit it, but deep inside I knew. Aunt Eva really had been a person who treasured her family greatly. The root of her twisted personality had been nothing more than the sadness of losing her beloved husband and son. Having been used as an outlet for all that emotion, I had no feelings of sympathy for her at all. And even so, it's not like I couldn't imagine that losing her entire family had dealt her an incredible shock sufficient to transform her personality. You're saying there's no way Auntie Eva, who loved her family, would have abandoned her husband and her son. That's right. If Eva's-san really had been the culprit and massacred her entire family, making it look like an accident, her husband and her old son would definitely be alive right now. She'd have tried to wriggle out with saying that her family was the only one in the hidden mansion by coincidence. If Hideyoshi-san and George-kun had both been alright, even I would have probably suspected Eva. It's impossible for me to believe that was all that wailing Eva-san did at Hideyoshi's funeral was an act. Mi fa male però. Both of those are circumstantial evidence. That isn't the same as physically showing Aunt Eva's innocence. That's quite unconstructive. Eva-san was the only one left alive, and she says that is the truth.
でも彼女の潔
But
白
no
は
one
誰に
can
も証
prove
明
her
できない
innocence.
ああそうそう
That's right.
そして彼女
And の
の
one
犯
can
行
prove
を
that she committed the crime either.
そして
Final point, making her worthy of trust,
警察だ
is the police.
何しろ
After all, it was one hell of an incident. Ecco, dici che cazzo è successo, per favore.
陰謀説を騒ぐように
Pushed
後押し
forward
されて
by a public in an uproar over the murder theory, the police must have investigated her thoroughly. It's easy to feel something unnatural about the claim that Eva had escaped the accident by coincidence, because she alone had escaped to a hidden mansion. Furthermore, at the time, Hideyoshi's company had been right in the middle of a takeover struggle and had wanted a large sum of cash in order to buy off the big stockholders. It shouldn't be too hard to find a motive here. But as a matter of fact, en route to the family conference, Eva's person had been perfectly clean. Nothing unnatural was found on her that could have been used to brutally murder her family and make it look like it was an accident. The servants who escaped harm by being off duty. Ok. Ho detto scusa? Chi è che è sopravvissuto? The servants who escaped harm by being off duty on that day also stated that they hadn't seen anything strange regarding anyone related to the event, Eva included. Putting all of that together, it could only be concluded that Ushiromiya Eva had headed to Rokkenjima for a normal family conference, not different from usual, and becoming involved in an accident.
警察があれだ
The
け
police
散々
placed
調べ
her
て
under all that scrutiny, and they still couldn't find evidence that it was a
警
crime.
察がそう断
That
じ
was
た
the police
それ
conclusion.
で
Doesn't that put an end to Rokkenjima gate?
それは単に警察
That
は
just means
事件
that
性を
the
発見
police
できなかった
couldn't
って
find
だ
the
けの
evidence
話じゃ
of
な
her
いんですか
crimes, doesn't it?
それを言い出し
Oh,
たら
come
キリがな
on,
い
you
な
could go on forever that
悪
way.
魔の証明になっ
That
ちま
would
う
be a devil's proof.
犯罪を暴く
To expose a
証拠を
crime, you
作れ
need to find the evidence. But what can you
無実を
find to
示す
show
には何を見つけ
someone's
りゃいいのかい
innocence?
消極的
It's
事実を
impossible to
証明
prove
は
a
不可能
negative
だ
fact.
エヴァおばさんが犯罪を犯した
Did
か
Aunt Eva commit a crime or did she not? Because we can find the data to decide that. The truth will remain a mystery, in
とい
other
うことです
words.
ね
Ah, because we can't find the data to decide. Bello che ho detto una volta data, una volta data. Vabbè. Because we can't find the data to decide that, the truth will remain a mystery, in other words.
そうだな
Well,
レンジちゃんの期待する
to put in words you're hoping for, that's how it is. Eva-san couldn't conclusively prove her own innocence.
あの島で不幸
An
な事故が
unfortunate accident occurred on that
そして
island,
たまたま
and
エヴァ
Eva-san
さんが生き残った
survived by
しかも
chance.
それ以上
That's literally all we
何
know.
もわからない
Fammi leggere un attimino qua un paio di domande, un paio di vostri messaggi. Riuscite a fare un po' di giochi notturno, ma non sapevo della presenza di oppentrice a Rokkenjima. Non vorrei dire, ma Codino qua ha i vestiti dello stesso colore di Lupin. C'era la Beatrice che diceva sono diventata morte distruttrice di mondi. E poi sono diventata vita creatrice di mondi, e poi sono ridiventata morte distruttrice di mondi. È vero, è vero. Fun fact, in Giappone l'accusato non è innocente fino a prova contraria, ma colpevole, a meno che non si sia provato altrimenti. Ah, ok, non lo sapevo. E approfitto anche per bere un goccetto. Oppentrice. In short, as Eva-san is the only survivor, it comes down to whether you can believe her story or not. I believed what she told me about the ring and her admirable love for her family, and the tears she showed at the funeral. Taking all of that into consideration, I decided I would believe her
で
story.
も私は信じ
But
ない
I don't believe
指
it.
輪なんて
And she wanted to steal the ring. There was probably many ways for her to do so, and no one knows whether her relationship with her family really was good. It's impossible to prove that her tears at the funeral were a real thing. Anyways, in the first place, I hate Aunt Eva. So that doesn't exactly inspire me to believe her story. How does one view the truth of the accident? You and I are at loggerheads on the issues. Even though the information we are given is exactly the same, we develop completely different opinions. This kind of things happens all the time in politics and economics. No matter the enterprise, it will always result in divisions of opinions. Do you know why? No. It's whether about you have love. Depending on whether you feel love for the other side, your way of seeing things is completely different. If a person you like gives to the poor, you can respect them, right? But if someone you hate starts donating, you fiercely protest that it's a publicity stunt or they're handing out favors. No matter what they do or don't do, you thank them if you have love, and criticize them if you don't. That's how the world works. Can you believe Aunt Eva or not? You're saying that's the only difference. Those who suspect her will probably take anything she does or doesn't do and view it as truly unnatural. And it works in reverse. As for me, I think that perhaps, except in extreme cases, truth in this world doesn't exist. No, even if truth does exist, whether you believe it or not is determined whether or not you have love. Can you really call it truth? Can you really call truth truth if it isn't absolute? Even if Eva-san had been able to demonstrate a physical alibi, would you have been able to believe it? He has a point. I hate Aunt Eva, so I'll probably deny all information beneficial to her and maliciously interpret all neutral information. In other words, inside myself, the truth is already decided, and yet I'm still unsatisfied, still searching for the truth. So what exactly is this truth I'm searching for? That's how it is. So no matter what you hear from me, as long as you still suspect Eva-san, it won't change anything for you. No matter, not after all this time. Even if you got your hands on a piece of hitherto unknown information, I still don't think you'll be able to reach the truth. Not the way you are now, at least. So I am incapable of reaching the truth. Well, yeah. No matter what kind of new information or proof you find, Ange-chan, you aren't going to change your stance on Eva-san is the culprit, right? Then it doesn't matter what else you look into, it's not gonna mean anything, is it? The truth inside of you is already decided. But if you don't think of that as the truth, and earnestly desire to arrive at the deeper, real truth, there is a single way. I believe I already mentioned it that once, though. You know what it is? You mean love? I don't really know what you mean by that. Right now, you are thinking about this while supposing that Eva-san is the culprit. But that is like looking at things with one eye. With one eye, no matter how much you squint, you can see an object in 3 dimensions, right? That's why you need another eye. Of course, a different position from the eye you have now. You're telling me to look at things based on the supposition that Aunt Eva isn't the culprit, or else that it was actually a real accident. Yes, exactly. When you think about something, try to look at it from a different perspective. from different perspectives. If you don't, you won't understand anything about how it really is.
新聞だってそうさ
It's the same thing with
一
newspapers.
つの新聞だけ
With
じゃ
only a single newspaper, you can only see things from a single viewpoint of the writer who wrote the article. Sometimes it takes reading multiple papers before you can process the information rationally and in 3 dimensions.
愛がなければ
Without love, the truth cannot be seen.
いいね
It's got a nice ring to it. Vabbè, ha fatto la citazione simpatica. Without love it cannot be seen. Va bene. Maybe he found it amusing that a cheesy phrase like that had popped out of his mouth. For a while he left, looking pleased. By the way, he was simultaneously declaring that he had told everything that he knew, and that it was about time for me to leave. Understanding that, I got to my
俺
feet.
にもエンジェちゃんの気持ちが分かった
I
よ
understand your feelings now,
あんた
Ange-chan.
が納得する
You
よ
should
うに
do as you like
しば
for
ら
a
く好き
while,
にしたらいい
until you're satisfied.
当時君
You
は
were
6歳
6 years old at the
わ
time.
けが分から
You
ないう
lost
ち
your
に家
family
族を失い
before you could even make
未だ
sense
に
of it.
心の整
And I
理がつ
fully
かない
understand your feeling like you're still down. You still don't have closure.
真相は分かる
You
かも
may
しれ
learn
な
the
い
truth, or you
分
may
からない
not.
かもしれないエヴァさんは犯人かもし
Eva-san
れな
may
い
be
し
the culprit, and she may be a
犠牲者かもしれない
victim.
エンジェちゃんが信じ
I
る
pray
真
that you
実を
find
見
the
つけられ
truth
る
you
のを
believe in,
祈
Ange.
ってるよ若いうちの旅も
As a
貴重な
journey,
経
a
験かも
journey
しれ
at
ない
such a young age may be a valuable
ありが
experience.
とうございます
Thank you
お
very
忙しい
much.
ところお邪
I'm
魔して
truly
本当に
sorry
す
to
み
be
ません
such
で
a
した
bother when
おこの
you
さん
are so busy, Okonogi-san.
いいっていいって
No trouble, no
これから
trouble.
どうするんだ
What are you going to do
ま
now?
あ適当に
Well, whatever
事件
works.
関係者や
I've made
その道の
appointments
専
with
門家
several
ってやつに
specialists and
何
people
人か
related
ア
to
ポ
the
を取ったの
crime,
で
so I
そちらは
plan to
別にです
pay them a visit.
そうか
I
納
see.
得のいく答え
I
が
hope
見
you
つか
can
るといい
find
な
an answer you can accept. Allora, fammi vedere un secondo. Characters che abbiamo Okonogi adesso. Eccolo qua. Okonogi Tetsuro, a major player in the Ushiromiya group. After Eva's death and until Ange succeeds the group, he and the others ministers are the one managing it. However, since Ange has no desire to do so, the group is on the brink of internal discord, putting him in a difficult position as well. He was previously the president of a foodstuff distribution company and had a very close relationship with Hideyoshi's company. Because of that long-lasting association, Eva particularly trusted him, and he was appointed to a significant post in the group. At that point, the company president Okonogi's secretary came in and handed him a memo over his shoulder. He read it and looked between it and my face. Ange-chan, my apologies that this comes right after telling you to try going on a journey, but I have some information I should lend an ear to. It looks like you're in a bit of a nasty fix now.
私の金を狙ってる連中ですか
People after my
だか
money.
らお金なんてくだらない
This is why money is
だ
stupid.
からって財産丸ごと
Yes, but if you try to sell off the whole shebang and donate the entire sum to social welfare, those people are already making plans for your
飛び
fortune.
出しちまうよ
You're gonna make their eyes pop out.
ああスマデラ
Oh,
の家です
so
か
it's the Sumadera family.
あいつら
The
何を偉
arrogance
そう
of
な
them
保護者
trying
さ
to
せ
act
て
like my guardians. I have the president of Aunt Eva, and I would ever go under the care of who would ever go under the care of the Sumadera family? They probably won't, as Auntie Eva has so often threatened in the past, to cut off my arms and legs, throw me in a warehouse, and suck the Ushiromiya family's wealth dry.
スマデラ家の使いがここに来るそうだ
A representative from the Sumadera family is coming here.
君を引き渡せと
They're saying to hand you over. No, that they want to protect you.
使いって
Representative, you
君
say?
のおばだよ
It's your
キリエ
aunt.
さんの妹さんだ
Kirie-san, younger
君
sister.
のことを妹の
She
よう
has
に
said
思って
before
る
that
前
that
に
she
話して
thinks
た
of you as a little sister.
冗談
She must be
せめて
kidding.
孫と言ってよ
At least
あ
call
の
me a
ババ
grandchild, you old granny.
文脈から見るに
Judging from the context, it seems they're not planning on taking your wishes into
地下2階
consideration.
の駐車場に
I have a car waiting in the parking lot 2 stories underground. Go.
スマデラの家から
The Sumadera family is telling you to hand me over,
いい
right?
の私を
Is
行か
it
せて
really alright to let me go?
エンジェちゃんはきっと将来
You
大
will
物になる
definitely
よ
be someone big in the future, Ange-chan.
私は
Let's call this a favor to be repaid upon your success.
行きな早く
Go, quickly. After bowing silently and deep, Ange left the place at a dash. After watching her leave, the secretary straightened her glasses and whispered, Sumadera family told us to stall her. Is it all right to let her go? Well, we did stall her, more than enough. If they still don't make it in time, that's the Sumadera's error. I told Ange-chan to run for it. And I've informed the Sumaderas that Ange-chan was here. Whether she's caught or not, neither one of them will blame me. Everything in the world is love, you see. It's alright. She'll escape. After all, she's the kind of kid who can jump off a building and to lose her pursuers. Okonogi again looked down at the world below and muttered, yeah, that'd be beyond me. Ange was no fool herself. She got off the elevator and stepped out onto the 3rd floor. A taxi in the 2nd level of the basement? That's so overly courteous that it feels wrong. It's probably better to decline that. But my enemies aren't fools either. They probably have control of not just the underground parking lot, but the 1st floor lobby as well. This is such a massive building. Instead of getting anxious and escaping outside, maybe it's better to stay on the inside and wait it out. No, that's no good. If they gain control of the security room in a modern building like this, I'll have nowhere to run to. This entire building is like a massive dead end. The 3rd floor is the business floor. A girl like me clearly sticks out. Trying not to stand out any more than I do, I walk at a quick pace, searching for an emergency staircase. One running down the outside of the building would be ideal. I found the door to the emergency staircase. After opening that heavy door, I found the outside stairs I was hoping to see. Once outside, I immediately encountered a man smoking a cigarette who looked like an employee skipping work. After glaring at me, he quickly crashed up his cigarette and went away. It looked like there's no one below. If I'm going to escape now, it's my only chance. Just when I thought of that, an incredible squeaking of tires and a black car slid directly below me and came to a sudden stop. It felt from the tire sound like there were several more of them in this one. I felt from the tire sound like there were several more of them, and this one had come here to block this path. Not bad, Aunt Kasumi. Even your niece, leaving by an emergency exit, gets a car sent to pick her up. Bam, bam, the car doors open forcefully. 3 men in black suits jump out, and they look up at the emergency staircase. Oh shoot, our eyes meet. 12. Target found. Northwest side emergency stairs. 3rd floor. Send support. Ange-sama! Please do not move from there. Oh, forgive our roughness. The 3 of them began to clamber up the emergency staircase. They already announced that they're planning to be rough. This is pretty bad. They've probably been ordered to bring me back by any means, with one of my armor yanked off if necessary, so just so long as I'm still breathing. Clank, 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 clank. Their heavy, wild footsteps became a helix and began to rise from the lower floors, getting closer. In the entrance lobby of the building, a woman was walking forwards at a leisurely pace with 7 black-suited guards in tow. Seeing this ostentatious entrance, the security guards for the building ran up to them, asking if they had an appointment. How typical of Tokyo people. You require a name to even understand the status of the person you are talking to. My apologies. The policy at our company is for guests to take a security... Back down, plebeian. I came here because I was called by your president, Okonogi Tetsuro here. To think that he would call me here and then not welcome me. How typical of Tokyo people. Ah, my apologies. Welcome to the Ushiromiya group, Sumadera Kazumi-san. With his secretary behind him, Okonogi dashingly appeared from the elevator. Even though both of them wore bold smiles, they were caught in a tension reminiscent of smell of gunpowder, of the smell of... Where is Ange? I came to collect my sister, darling daughter. Strict observance of time is our motto here at Ushiromiya Group. The former chairman herself said that those who can keep time can keep contracts. You called me all the way to Tokyo to be greeted by this mess. You let her go, didn't you? Oh, she got away is the wording I would have preferred. We did stall her for quite some time, believe it or not. I'm not surprised she smelled a rat. There wouldn't have been a problem if you had come on time, Sumadera-san. This is why you provincial are such a hassle. You're never ever punctual. What did you say just now? What did you say to me? You couldn't sense any of Kiria's sociability in the face of her younger sister Kasumi. She wore on her face the arrogance of the ancient Sumadera family towards the ruined Ushiromiya family, as well as pride, because she didn't want anyone to notice that her family was declining so much that they couldn't ignore the Ushiromiya family's wealth. Even at a glance, it was easy to understand why Ange hated everything about her aunt. Kasumi couldn't stand even a slight insult, and while she still smiled, her eyebrows twitched. At that time, one of the men in black suits behind Kasumi whispered to her, Ange-sama has been found. We are dealing with her as we speak. Oh, I'm glad we make it in time. We made it in time. Thank you, Okonogi. It seems I can finally take my naughtiness home. I've been so eager to have a nice long talk with that girl in my tea room that I have already prepared all the tools that I have already have all the tools ready and waiting, you know? Clank, 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 clank. As the violence of the sounds drew a helix, he rushed up at me from below, threatening to swallow me up. Of course, even if I fight them, I stand no chance of winning. Even so, if I run into the building, it'll be like jumping into a dead end of my own accord. The enemies will increase in number with time. If I can't do anything here, I won't have any more chances to escape. Then 3 muscular black suits came into view below me. 1, 2, 3 people. In other words, everyone who had gotten out of the car. If there had been just one of them, I might have been able to wait for the moment of arrival to drop kink as hard as I could, which might have worked out. But if it's really impossible, but it is really impossible with 3 of them. Wait, 3, huh? 3 might just be about doable. I can do it. Shuito, stop! Look out! Zero 1, calling 12. Do you ever? Please, respond. Please, respond. What was that just now? Scusate. 01, calling to 12. Do you have her? Please, respond. What's wrong? Respond. What kind of person? Damn it. Ouch. Look, see? That worked now, didn't it? It's just 3. I've already experienced with much higher places after all. I knew I could jump down just 3 floors. It's a good thing the card I had it was right beneath me. Even if it wasn't as pleasant as a trampoline, it broke my fall. A little gently, a little roughly. Well, that makes me feel wonderful.
ここまでへこむこと
No one asked you to go and dent that badly. Having broken my fall, the roof of the car now had a massive dent around my body. I guess car roofs are more delicate than I thought. Don't think it's because of my weight. Apparently, the three men on the stairs had anticipating me jumping down. Having realized that I had been outwitted, they were hurriedly rushing back down. I had to run and escape while I still had a chance. As I moved my body, the car roof made buckling and popping sounds. But I had been naive. There was no way they all rushed up the stairs without leaving one person behind. There was one black suit left in the driver's seat of the car that had broken my fall. He stuck his head out of the window, and when he realized that the thing that had fallen on him was me, he jumped out. In a rush, I jumped off the roof, but his reaction was really fast. Either there was a massive reward for capturing me, or a harsh punishment for letting me get away. 15! Secured! Get your hands off of me! Let go! I was mercilessly held down against the asphalt. I was being crushed face down, covered and pressed down from above. I was hauled without a trace of elegance, but it really was logical and left me absolutely no room for resistance. I tried to push back with both hands, searching for a way to resist, but I was pushed down solidly, and I couldn't even tear myself off the asphalt. Then another car came, squeaking its tire, and as it slid to a sudden stop. Guess it's all over. The man that had been crushing me let out a sharp cry. He had yelled close to my left ear, making it ring. What in the world? The black suit and I were unceremoniously rolled over. After being turned face up, the first thing I saw was an arm stuck out right in front of my eyes. Hamakusa, why are you here? Let's talk about that after we lost them. To the car, quickly, Missy. Amakusa grabbed my arm and easily pulled me up, spinning me around with himself at the center of gravity. The thought that he was like a dance lasted only for a few brief moments before he flung me through the open door into the driver's seat. I climbed over the handbrake and slid into the passenger seat, pushing me through. Maxa also got in and took the driver's seat. Since we had suddenly taken off while I was still on all fours, I had to kick and struggle around in the seat for a while, like a turtle flip on its back. Amaxa checked the rear view mirror for cars in pursuit, but flew into the artery of the big city without lowering his speed in the slightest. We sawed our way between cars one after another, just like a chase scene in some action movie. Tossed about by his horrible driving, I had trouble getting myself reseated. Any injuries, Missy? All good. Humans are surprisingly durable. From now on, whenever I miss an elevator, I'll just jump out a window instead. Looks like air dives are your hobby, Missy. Still, I recommend you being a parachute next time. I'll do that if I remember after jumping. Cool. He smacked the steering wheel, guffawing. But need an explanation for this flippantly spoken man? His name is Amakusa Juza. He was originally one of my Aunt Eva's guards. If I remember correctly, he hated him from being too jokey and too chatty. He was especially young amongst the guards, but contrary to his outward flippancy, he had hopped up from the first airborne of the JSDF to the French Foreign Legion, placing himself in overseas private military companies and high-class security companies one after another, making for a pretty incredible and unique career. But I heard that he ran off from both the JSDF and the French Foreign Legion, and that he'll be arrested if he enters France again. Both of these flippant episodes were very typical of him. Apparently, the guards have been sternly told not to chat with me unnecessarily, but I recall that didn't stop him coming to take a pass at me. Aunt Eva had particularly disliked that, and I believe she dismissed him right before she died. Nice to hear that casual tone again. What have you been up to since getting fired? Coaching people at Blackwater. I came back to this country for some time off, and President Okonogi offered me a high wage. And you ran off again. What use is a man like that, I wonder? Doesn't count as running off as long as I come back by next week. I talked with him yesterday. I told him that you might attract some troublesome people. Sorry that it turned out to be exactly right. My name probably came up since I know you, and I've got plenty of experience when things get crazy. Thanks to you. It looks like this will make us for a happy break along with some pocket money. Okonogi-san employed you as my guard? He probably wants you to owe him one, missy. After I got the axe. Oh, ciao Frank! After I got the axe, President Okonogi helped me a bunch, you see? Got me right where he wants me. Can't say no to him. Seems that if you let Okonogi-san help you out, it'll be pretty costly in the future. So, where are you planning on taking me? Wherever. I'm employed until the weekend. Anything after that costs you extra. How much a day? I'll catch you a deal for 50k, plus expenses. If you stop cracking jokes, I'll double it. The period of employment is undetermined. It might be several weeks. Oh, that'd be tough. I'll have to call the boss to get an extension of my vacation. I just want to investigate that day more than anything. Oh, talking about Rokenjima? Yes. What happened on that island 12 years ago? I want to go investigate it with my own hands and find a satisfying explanation. Will you really make any new discoveries at this point, investigating something that happened so long ago? You're right. Which is why this is a journey for my own self-satisfaction. Once I'm done, I'll throw my hands up and go to the Sumadera family. Didn't Aunt Kasumi say something about wanting to treat me to some matcha? Maybe I'll be made to kneel on some sharp wooden blocks and clutch stones, or maybe something while we drink. Damn, that sounds freaky. My apologies. We lost sight of her. Single man thought to be an associate assisted in her escape. Judging by his possession of a stun gun and his driving skills, he is no amateur. I see. Thank you. I'm disappointed, Okonogi. Shall I take this as your answer? Letting it get away was your screw-up, not my problem, I'm afraid. I'd really like to treat you to some matcha in the near future as well. The next time you are in Kyoto, please do stop by. Let's go. Oh, leaving already? You could have some chazuke before you go. Her back to Okonogi, she left at first lightly, but with an increasingly shrill and hateful tone, using that as a substitute for a sharp parting remark. At that exact same moment, she stopped laughing. The look on her face changed dramatically to that of a demon. But because her back was facing him, Okonogi never saw that expression. Okonogi watched her go, laughing coolly. His secretary whispered over his shoulder, Is that alright? Milady Ange is our company primary stockholder. If the Sumadera family becomes our guardian. I get it, but you know, we are the one and only Ushiromiyas. They can't let us take us lightly. Still, looks like he outmaneuvered them pretty well. No, we'll just let Ange-chan do as she pleases. I'm counting on you, Amakusa. Kasumi-sama, the getaway vehicle was a rental. The license plate on display was a fake. It's clearly a pro. They will probably abandon the car. Pursuit will be difficult. Should we have the police chase them? Let me see. Shall we have them search for a runaway daughter? They're getting paid with our taxes, so we must have them be of some use every once in a while. You do realize I left the mansion defiantly insisting to Mother that she should leave it to me. Do you intend to embarrass me further still? It looks like I need to serve some matcha to every single one of you, doesn't it? Our underground tea room is cramped, so you have to wait in line, won't you? No, we will search with everything we have. Ah, she is really a cute kid. Like Nathan, especially that unrestrained, self-centered side of her. Now I can see her as anyone but Nathan. I'm truly looking forward to it. To think I'll be able to invite Nathan's daughter to my tea room. Ok, direi che possiamo fermarci qui al momento. Leggiamo un attimino, penso che ci sia, sì, c'è Sumadera Kasumi e c'è Amakusa Juza. Quindi, Amakusa Juza, a former guard of Evas, an extreme thrill seeker who accepts dangerous jobs for little pay. He had served as Ange's bodyguard before, but after he broke Eva's strict order not to talk to Ange countless times, Eva ultimately took a dislike to him and let him go. Ange herself didn't find him all that bad because he was someone she could talk to. JSDF, Foreign Legion, private military companies, this man had traveled them all, and had skill in counter sniping and escorting VIPs. Sumadera Kasumi, daughter of the declining noble family Sumadera, Ushiroma's Kirie's younger sister. She hated her sister Kirie so much that she loathes everything about her, so she also strongly hates Ange. She is the opposite of the free-willing person Kirie was, and holds appearances in high regard, possessing a strong ambition for philanthropy. However, that is nothing more than a manifestation of her complex towards her sister, causing her to crave the limelight. There are several opposing factions in the Sumadera family, and they are constantly engaged in a secret feud over who will control the vast wealth Ange holds.